Hey everyone, here we go. We're gonna try this vertical crap out. I'm tired of taking crap from JT. So I submit down to the vertical stream. So here we go. We're gonna get into one of the situations about what is good maintenance, what is bad maintenance, preventative maintenance on your vehicle. Should you be uh duped into doing a repair on your vehicle? Do you view it as being duped? All right. So we're here to settle that score, exactly what's going on. There we go. I'm going to see if I can't do a zoom out. How's that going to look? Oh, yeah, it looks a lot better. There we go. Didn't field test this vertical stuff right away. Go ahead and get that removed. All right, so I got some invites sent out. If you want to go ahead and you want to jump on in. I want to get the opinions of everybody else on what your personal thoughts are of being a uh, investing into what preventative maintenance is. So first off is let's talk about like what I perceive personally as preventative maintenance. Okay, preventative maintenance would be changing engine oil a little early. If you have an oil maintenance interval of 6 months, 6,000 miles, okay, let's do it at 5,000 miles. What's the advantage of doing that? Well, if the manufacturer is saying that at 6,000 miles, that's when your oil is at the risk of not working properly, whether it's a detergent problem, a viscosity problem, a lubrication problem, would it be better to just get ahead of the curve a little bit more and not run on that last leg of oil? And if you set your parameters to come in a little bit before the oil changes due and you get used to doing that, then that one time you do go over, you're still in the safe zone. Too many times do I see customers coming in and they have a 6,000 mile oil interval and they're at 7,100 miles, 7,100 miles. Yeah. How many times can you get away with that before maybe something detrimental happens? Because to my knowledge, that I understand about oil is as oil breaks down, through use and heat, it gets acidic and it starts breaking down your seals, your O-rings, your gaskets, and that's how you can get early oil leaks on your engine is by running that oil into the ground. So if you have a 6,000 mile oil change interval, I'm just going to keep using six because it's an easy number for me in my head. And you drive an average of, let's use my local area, about 18,000 miles a year. Okay, that's about the average driving distance per year. Okay, so you're looking at about 3 oil changes. What's going to happen to your engine if you just add one more interval into your system? It's only going to make your car last longer, right? Because if you want to get to that 100,000 mile mark with no problems, that 200,000 mile mark without problems, changing oils a little bit earlier, it's not going to hurt you. It's only going to make your investment better. And what is an oil change costing you? $80, $100, depending on where you go and get it. What's engine repair? Thousands of dollars. I mean, what if all of a sudden you got oil and coolant mixing? That could be head gaskets, right? $5,000. We got Turner coming in here. Love to get his opinion. Let me add him up. It's Turner. How do you
Hello.
talk? Hey, sir, thank you for coming on. What do you think about this? Do you educate customers on preventative maintenance?
I do actually. Every vehicle that I work on, I actually like my customers. They have a little logbook. I get them all into a logbook habit, record the date and mileage, what they do, everything. And before going on any long trips, I always get them to stop and check their tires, check their oil, go through everything. And like you said, there's no such thing as changing your oil too soon, but you don't need to change it every single week. That's a little bit carried away. But hey, if you got money, it's not going to hurt the car. But yeah,
Oh,
no, like if you when in doubt, change it out.
I like that. When in doubt, change it out, folks. And when it comes to transmission fluid, uh, that can be a catchy one for some people because that can be an expensive service. Um, a, a transmission that holds about 12 quarts could set you back, depending on the price per quart, about $400 at least. At least I
And
can say that for a Subaru CVT, you could be looking at a $400 to $500 service depending on your area. And I've always recommended to people, I says, if you think it's going to hurt your transmission, but you are a little bit leaning on the side that it's good for longevity, let's do it before your powertrain is up. Okay, let's do it at 55,000 miles, because if something does happen due to that fluid exchange, we can still rely on that powertrain to bail you out. But
actually,
that's never happened.
if when it comes to transmission, it's always better to do your transmission early before the clutches start burning, like in any transmission that has clutches, because if you take it in for a service and they decide to do a flush, they're not going to destroy those clutches and that on the flush, because sometimes flushes can do more damage. So actually changing your transmission fluid 20-30,000 kilometers prematurely is actually benefiting the transmission, mostly if you're going to get a flush, because as long as you can get it before the clutches burn, you're actually saving yourself a lot more grief.
Yeah, and that is a good point to stress to especially working trucks out there. If you're just loading up a, a fifth wheel trailer and you're making that truck work every day for what it's worth, that is something that you definitely want to roll into your company as a preventative maintenance. You're going to have to escalate that maintenance period because you're pushing that transmission to work 100% every single day, pulling whatever you're pulling. I mean, just today, I watched somebody try and get on the interstate. He's just got a little F-150, and he had a pallet of sod in the back of his truck, and he looked like he had one of those American Carolina squat trucks. It's like his front windshield was just pointing up at the sky, completely bottomed out in the back end. And I'm like, man, I can only imagine what that transmission is doing just trying to get down the road at 80 miles an hour.
And even if you own a manual transmission, you still got to change. You got to change that fluid. And actually, with manual transmissions, I tell people to drain it out twice a year minimum, because you got synchronizer clutches in there that help synchronize transmission shifting. When those go, you're going to bugger your transmission. Your forks are going to get bent up. But none of that, keeping cooler transmission fluid in it's going to keep your RPMs at a better level, going to give you better fuel mileage and stuff like that. And if you do a lot of trailer pulling or heavy loads in the back of your truck, like my truck carries tools in it, I do my rear diff 3 times a year.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's great advice. Uh,
Like,
Another thing to see that you brought up manual gearboxes. Uh, this is one that I would like to hear your opinion on because this is how I explain it to a customer. Manual gearboxes are fun to drive, especially because you're in control of the vehicle. You get to hear the gearbox whine. It makes the RPMs a little bit more fun to hear. And when you're coming off of a highway, let's say you're doing 70 miles an hour. So what's that, like 90 kilometers?
That's about
120
90,
kilometers?
80,
Yeah.
90.
Yeah. So now you got to go through a deceleration process to get on the access road. The funnest thing to do is to use engine braking, right? You just leave it in gear and let it wind down. Now, the way that I explain it is, okay, so you've taken your foot off the accelerator, the throttle plate's closed on the engine. You're using the physics of the engine to slow itself down. Yes, you are saving material on your brake pads. I understand what you just thought. But now, because that engine is stuck in that high vacuum situation, your PCV system is going to suck up a little bit more crankcase ventilation. And that is where some high oil consumption might happen. And you need to monitor your engine oil a lot better. Is that a good way of explaining it?
Yeah, that's fairly good way, but that's the thing is also when you're transmission braking, before you downshift and you take your you take your foot off the accelerator, let the transmission actually, because at that velocity there's going to be resistance feedback. You'll actually feel the engine pull back, and when the vehicle starts to pull back, that's when you clutch and then shift. Don't just shift automatically right into gear, because if you do that, you can bend your forks, or you could jam up your gearbox. Take your foot off the accelerator, let the vehicle start to slow down, and then shift, or apply the brake lightly and shift down, and you then let the transmission draw itself down again, and you'll feel when it drops down to be able to do it again. But just shifting without letting it decelerate, or without just tapping the brake a little bit before you shift, could actually grenade your manual gearbox. But as for oil consumption, when you are transmission braking, it's trying to turn your engine into a compressor. So you're going to have a little bit more EGT levels going in, like going on in the exhaust system back of the engine, which is going to cause the rings to allow a little bit more oil to come through and stuff like that. And like it's recommended for when you're hauling loads, but if you're just driving empty, I just say just use your brakes, because it's actually going to be less money at the end of the day if something goes wrong.
Yeah, those are great points to bring up. Yeah, because I'm reflecting on a conversation I had with a customer. He had a Crosstrek with a 5-speed manual gearbox, and he was showing us oil levels. He
Nice.
came in for a an oil change. He requested that everything be marked. He wanted his dipstick waxed closed. He wanted the drain plug waxed closed, so it proved there was no tampering, even the oil filter. And he was very adamant. He says, my engine is going through a quart and a half of oil within 3,000 miles. All right, let's follow through with this. This is what you requested. Let's follow through with it. So he comes back in at 3,000 miles, right there, right in front of him. We do it properly with the engine cool off for about 2 minutes, and then we crack the seal on the dipstick, pull it out. I'm like, yeah, you're on the low mark, and no one's touched this, and you left with full oil. And I would, on our systems, the difference between the low and the high mark is about 1 quart. So from there, I topped off the engine oil, and I said, I'd like to go for a test drive. And he didn't understand. I says, I just want to observe your driving habits. Let's go for a
Yeah.
ride. And I told my manager, I was like, I'm going to be gone for like 20 minutes. I'm going to get this dude on the highway. I want to see what he does. And I coached the customer. I says, just drive how you normally drive. I really have to observe this. If we're going to push forward for which you are requesting, which is a new engine, I says, I just got to collect some information. So I kept my comments in reserve a little bit, and I let him just talk a little bit. And yeah, he was just an engine braking fool the whole way, like third gear, 6,000 RPMs. I was like, okay. And I got this all data log because I had the laptop, and I says, I got to do a test drive with you in the laptop. So after that, we did a courtesy oil change for him. I coached them through some driving ethics, and wasn't really perceptive, but I says, I want you to try this. I says, use your brakes more. Don't be engine braking so much in these low gears, causing these high RPM spikes for so long. Like, come back to us in 3,000 miles. Let's check this oil level. I really have a feeling that you're going to be at a much safer level. And sure enough, he was only maybe about 3 millimeters below the full mark.
Yep.
So it did make a huge difference, but he was a very excessive engine breaker. Like he drove like he was driving 18 wheelers kind of bad.
Well, not that more modern transmissions aren't really designed for transmission braking, and this is why when you're taught to drive, you're only supposed to do it in an emergency or stuff like that. But modern brake systems and even older brake systems, the front brakes do 60 to 80% of the braking capacity, and if you don't slam the brake to the floor, you probably majority of the time you should only have to replace your rear pads maybe once or twice a year at best in your front pads if you're using proper braking habits and not speeding and braking too much. And that's the thing. Like when you're speeding, I know you got a car that goes fast, you want to go fast, but that going fast and the guys in front of you that's going the speed limit and you got to brake hard, that's what's cost you money on your brakes. But that's the thing. Modern transmissions can't take that abuse.
It's been my message. Race car habits get you race car problems.
Yeah.
And we just one of our bigger, heavier vehicles that are in our lineup of the Subaru is the Ascent. And a lot of people think that car needs a bigger brake setup. They think the brake setup is a little bit too slow. We got a lot of people coming in with brake pulsation. We got to machine the rotors while the pads still have about 6 millimeters left on them. Again, it's just education to the customers.
Yeah.
Hey, there's a lot of interstate around here, and average speed on the interstate is 75, 80 miles an hour. And they give you a quarter mile of deceleration from the exit ramp to get on the maintenance or get onto the access road. You should really start decelerating a little bit sooner. Ride the brake a little bit more because it's that excessive harsh braking going from 80 to 40, 80 to 50. So it's chewing through your rotors. Had a customer a couple months ago. She's on her second set of rotors in 60,000 miles because we just couldn't machine out the warpage. It was just that excessive. But just a little girl, and she brakes hard. Let's hit up our comments here. I've invited everyone that got in here early. Learning with Juan, I sent you a message. Yeah, I'm experimenting with the horizontal. I've had JT getting on me, and I've had Fluffy getting on me. So I explored my settings, and I'm gonna give it a shot. And it looks like it's working out pretty well. I'm exploring with 204 new viewers, which is great, which is really, really good. Getting more exposure out there for some people. I want to hear more opinions. Bring some more people into the conversation. Yep, we are getting started here, sir. That's your comment. We got Quick Wrench coming in and saying hi to everybody. Everybody in the chat knows everybody, and that's good to see. See if we got anybody new. I saw a new client that just came in. Where are you at? Yeah, Cousin Pookie. There they are. Yeah, you're right. This is not JT's channel, but I am doing a good impersonation of him. It wasn't that hard. All I had to do was go buy a PT Cruiser from the junkyard and go vertical with it. Maybe that's enough poking the bear to get him out here.
Yeah, that's Cousin Pookie guy's got to pop up every now and then.
Oh, you're saying that the link took you to Timo? What?
I was making a joke.
All right. Quick Rinse says he's going to join us in a little bit. He's probably still getting off work. He's always a busy guy. I appreciate whenever he does come on, though. Who was to say? You look like you've done every shroom known to man with those glasses. Burn. Yeah. Okay. What?
You leave him and his goats alone on his little miracle
Yeah.
farm, okay?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
not his fault. He drives a Volkswagen van and that. He's a mellow guy, okay?
Yeah. No, it's. I do have a little bit of a light sensitivity, so I did hook up with a really nice lens crafter. The guy can alter any lens in any frame, and yeah, I got me a little bit of a yellow tint to a set of aviators, and I turned some aviator sunglasses in the into just normal seeing glasses. So what about it? Uh,
Well,
I
you're
like
all
them.
good as long as you don't talk about eating kale, okay? You talk about eating kale and it's over.
So yeah, I got some blue ones too. Now sometimes the light just hits me a certain way, and so I got a pair of blue lenses for filtering out different types of light of different times of the year. Especially with my stall, about 3 o'clock, that sunbeam comes straight in, and if I'm wearing these are my driving glasses, so they got the transition lens, I can't see crap when that sunlight comes through. So the yellow ones are nice. The yellow ones are my dailies now, but I do have some blue ones on some thick frames that I like to wear.
Yeah, I should go get my eyes checked on someday. I should.
No, it's the advantage of going into my eye doctor is he figured out a problem that I was having for a long, long time. Um, I was always very attracted to baseball, and I just couldn't uh, couldn't make the lineup every time, but I tried every year, and then I got hooked into softball and made the lineup a few times, but they never put me out in the field because I was like, while I could throw like no tomorrow, I just couldn't catch for the life of me. And when I was going to pitching class or going to catching classes and going to camps, they're like, man, I was like, we got you, like you got no problem playing infield, but outfield, you suck. Um, so a few years ago, I was actually having problems reading. I go to this doctor, and this doctor's like, you got a lazy eye. I was like, no. And I was like, I've had my eyes checked every year. I was like, especially when I was in the military, it was mandatory every year. And he's like, yeah, I can see why they didn't catch this. They probably didn't want to tell you this because it was probably a related injury. He's like, yeah, he's like, one of your eyes are just off, but just a little bit. So he gave me some lenses that helped me build some muscle memory and or some muscle under here in my cheekbone, brought that eye up, worked with that for a year. And then I was like, all of a sudden, uh, just randomly out there, caught a ball out in the middle of the outfield. I was like, holy crap. I was like, this would have saved me 10 years of trying to get on the team. So yeah. So guys, like if you're just one of those people where you're every time you're just holding up your mid out there in the outfield and it goes right over your glove and you can't figure it out, hey, make sure you don't got a depth perception problem due to a lazy eye. That's what my thing was. I had a depth perception issue. Yeah, oh, I'm getting called all kinds of pooky stuff here in chat. Oh, you guys. Yeah, I'm giving this an experiment for exposure. I've done a bunch of vertical streams today, did some repairs. We got onto a BRZ. We went looking for some RTV gasket maker in the pickup tube.
Well, that's the thing is you got to make your streams compatible to Californians' cell phones because apparently they don't go sideways.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're cell phone holders. They fall off as soon as they turn sideways. That's right.
But it makes sense though, going horizontal to get the people that are on their phones and tablets. So.
Oh, we got a new viewer in today commenting. Haven't seen him before. Dominic, hello. I drive about 100 miles a week for work with 30 miles plus for random things. I change my oil every 3 months minimum, sometimes earlier, depending if I drive a little hard to take. Good for you, man. I'm glad that you're being proactive about that because engines are very, very expensive to repair, especially when it gets down to the HVAC territory. I'm sorry, the head gasket territory. I saw Sergio and I said HVAC. Way to go, Sergio. Messing up my my words there.
Now that doing your oil a little premature might also help you keep that EGR system a little cleaner too at the end of the day too.
Good points. Oh, and learning with one, I do got your hammer on order. He was our winner of our big tool contest last week. So we raffled off to all our members. End of the month, we do big tool giveaway. So if you're not a paid member, you just got to click that join button at the bottom. I'm only asking for $1, and that gets you into our monthly raffle. Now, I do have a standing rule that says if we have more than so many members participating in the chat during a stream, I will automatically do a small raffle just as a incentive to get you to come in every Saturday. But we do have mandatory raffle here on Saturday. So that was a beautiful I think he picked out the 52-ounce hammer with the 18-inch long handle. So he's going to be breaking into some houses doing some B&E. There is going to be a big warning that comes with that. We've got a Toyota Tech here in here. I am a Toyota Tech, and we don't flush unless they have proof of flushes prior to 30,000 miles. Otherwise, yeah.
You fell, yeah.
You know, I've heard that from some shops.
Yeah.
And
I don't flush unless it's been flushed from day one early. So
yep. And I was talking to a couple of other shops that are they're not mom and pops, but they are manufacturer specific. And he will not take you on as a customer if your car is more than 10 years old and more than 100,000 miles on it if you don't have previous maintenance records. So like he will audit you as a new potential customer just because he just doesn't want the headache of you bringing in a junk car. And it's a shame that policies are standing up now like that with our late model vehicles just being so finicky once they hit that 100,000 mile mark.
Fluffy down at the end there being fun where I put the coolant in my Tesla. It's not a joke, but they do have coolant. Those electric motors some of them do have some cooling.
Yeah, and they got them in the batteries too.
Yep.
There's coolant passages in the battery. I was just talking to somebody on another live stream. He was saying that he's in Florida and his Tesla will not charge. So I asked him, I says, like, are you charging with the stage 2 or the stage 3 charger? And he didn't understand. So I clarified and I says, okay, well, your Tesla, for my fundamental understanding of all full electric vehicles, they have a stage 1, 2, and 3 charging system on them. And stage 1 would basically be you plug it into a wall outlet where you plug into your toaster. Okay. It does a very low trickle charge, and it's the safest way to recharge your battery without causing any heat stress on the lithium battery pack. But once you go to stage 2, now we're doing a rapid charge, and stage 3 is like an express charge. And the faster you charge a battery, the more heat that those battery packs go through, because it's just the flow of the angry pixies. All right. And that can definitely start degrading your battery packs. So if you're in a hot climate area and you're trying to do a rapid charge, it's the computer in the vehicle, for safety reasons, will not let you do a rapid charge. So, if you live in a very, very hot climate area and you got a full electric vehicle, you got to plan your charges out accordingly.
I did that 60-hour course at the Tesla Center here in Victoria.
Yeah.
It's a 60-hour course on not just Teslas, just EVs in general. And I learned a lot of stuff, and my brain still hurts from those days. that was a tough week.
Yeah, I'm getting set up to go to a hybrid full EV class in Chicago, sponsored by Bosch, in about a week and a half. So the week after next, I'm going to be all gone. I'm going to be playing around in Chicago. I hope I get to do some recording, but I got to sign my confidentiality agreement as soon as I arrive and see what they're going to let me talk about, because they said maybe. I got a maybe. So we'll see what happens. They might want to put all the pretty stuff away. Oh, it's going fantastic, Mr. McDonald. Thank you for showing up today. We got some highs here from Devin. Yep. Hi. Let's get back on this preventative maintenance. Let's hit on our transmission. Oh, wait, we got Mr. Quake Ranch here. Let me get him added to our stage. Good day to you, sir. We're going to go into, let's go
Now,
into
where
our
he
automatic.
belongs on the bottom.
Let's, there. How about that?
Oh, no.
Let's go into
I
our
got you.
automatic transmission fluid versus our CVT transmission fluid. Automatic transmission fluid, generically, just keeping it simple, that's a hydraulic fluid, okay? Because you're compressing your clutch packs and you're releasing your clutch packs so you can shift into different gears. When we get into CVTs, that is a very specific, I like to call it, to educate people, I like to call it a friction fluid. That is a fluid that is meant so that mechanical components that are really, really close together can slide between each other without hitting each other. Very much like a very advanced engine oil. And over course and time, it degrades to heat, excessive use, abuse, and changing it out and keeping it fresh and rejuvenated. It's the best way to save those very expensive CVT repairs, which could be total failure or partial failure. What say you two gentlemen?
I don't work on enough CVTs, but I understand the basics of them. But I the ones that I've done, it's just basically just a flushing that, and yeah, it's like, honestly, I don't have enough experience on CVTs to really make any real mindful comments. I treat them the same as a normal transmission.
Well,
Like,
CVT,
put what the OEM what the OEM expects to put in it, put the right volume, and
Yes.
but do it prematurely.
well, CVT, don't they say 25,000-30,000 to change the fluid?
Yeah, brother, they're telling people to do it never because they're advertising it as lifetime fluid. But when I'm trying to get my customers,
the friction modifier wears out in that fluid.
yes. So I'm trying to tell my customers, I says, if the last time you do it, the best time to do it is about 10,000 miles before that powertrain is up. Because if changing the fluid is going to do anything catastrophic to that transmission, we'll still catch it under manufacturer warranty. But 50,000 miles, that's a good interval to hit it unless you are doing something really, really, really excessive with your vehicle that would require it to go 30,000 miles. But I mean, with the service costing anywhere between $400 and $500, that's still a lot cheaper than buying a new transmission because there's not a lot of places that are going to go into a CVT without rebuilding the whole thing. I mean, with the little time that I did at Ford, I would hear people come in and they would ask, "Hey, how much to fix this problem with my transmission?" And I would just hear advisors say, "Oh, any repair opening a transmission starts at 4,000." Like, because we don't take chances. You just get a rebuild. It's like, we're not doing a onesie twosie, cracking it open only to go in there a year later. Like, well, I have a couple of transmission shops around our place, and yeah, they'll pull a Chevy transmission out and they'll do a onesie twosie repair and they'll leave all the garbage in there. But a lot of other shops, they're not into doing band-aid fixes nowadays. When they do a big job like that, they don't want to go back into it. Not for a long time.
Who has the best CVT transmission? That's a very debatable question.
Oh, I'm gonna give Mercedes a lot of credit.
Mercedes, Honda.
Yep. I think Mercedes has really set a good bar, but you're getting what you pay for. They're expensive cars.
Honda, I think the Subaru's been pretty solid CVT.
The last half decade, we have had our problems have diminished a lot. Our Gen 1 CVTs, we had a lot of early onset problems and learning failures, But you get a lot of that when you start making 100,000 of something, and you really kind of get some exposure of how your product reacts to different territories and different driving habits. So that was a hard lessons learned. The manufacturer sucked it up, and they extended the warranty to 10 years, 100,000 miles on those Generation 1s, and even some of the Gen 2s. But we didn't have any problems with the TR690 version, which only came in the 6-cylinder Outbacks. Okay, the 6-cylinder Outbacks got a heavy-duty version of the CVT, and it was called the TR690. And I think I've only replaced one of those for damage. I mean, maybe basic repair like a valve body a couple times here and there, but
Now,
man,
the Subaru doesn't require any special tooling to do a fluid change, does it?
no, you just need some regular X bits.
I left the shop early today, and one of our automotive suppliers dropped off one of their delivery vehicles after I left, and they wanted the fluid changed, the CVT fluid changed, and they brought their own fluid. They brought their own stuff just what they wanted us to use. On a Nissan, Nissan of some type. I don't know exactly what Nissan it was, but I wasn't there. And one of the guys called me up and says they're reading and all data. It said it required a special level check / fill adapter that you screwed into the bottom of the pan. And I was unfamiliar with what he was talking about. I said, just leave it till Monday and I'll look into it. So just put the cars.
Checking the CVT fluid level, there is a fill check procedure. It's not a hard procedure, but
I'm sure you guys transmission to a certain temperature and
that's it. You have the fill plug is a spill plug, and it's on the side of the transmission towards the tail housing or directly on the rear end of the tail housing. Just depends on the generation, and all that's easily visible on the service data. So then,
is there anything you need? Is there anything you need on Nissan CVTs to? It's an overflow. Is there any special tools you need, or is this guy reading stuff around?
I know on a Nissan. I know on some of the Nissans that I've done, they do have a fill plug adapter that is a pipe that would go up into the pan. So as you fill it up through the pipe, that is your fluid check.
Yes.
Just like on VW has. But Subaru isn't too much of an a-hole like that to require that.
Well, Ford did that on a couple of their automatic transmissions. I think like they had the transmission they used on the Explorer for a few years had it where you had to fill it through a fill hole on the bottom of the transmission. It actually had like a tube that went up into the pan. And once you filled it at an operating temperature, whatever kind of trickled back out, when it got to a trickle, you were done. If it was pouring out, I mean, it wasn't on a drain hole, but it was a fill hole, but it was in the bottom of the pan. But like I know in the Chryslers, I got their special dipstick for Chryslers. And then I got also where the fill hole is, you remove that plug, and then I got a screw in. I think it's made by CTA Tools that, at a certain temperature, you screw it in, it should read a certain number on the line at a certain temperature. So I got a few tools for Chrysler or Stellantis vehicles that proper tool to check the level and get an accurate level.
They're like the two dipsticks.
Turner's getting bashed in the comments for having a bad lens on his camera.
He cleaned it off. Clear now.
It's my work laptop. It's got one of those recessed lenses. You can't clean the damn thing. You can't get anything in there to clean it.
Change nothing. You didn't clean it.
Hey, you're getting real life equipment from real mechanics. That's what it is. Like we can't afford the Gucci stuff.
Yeah.
We drive old cars.
Did you clean your lens, no, Turner?
I tried to clean it, but it's recessed into the
No,
laptop.
but right
and
now,
the
what I'm
kick
trying to say,
went down.
right now, you are crystal clear. So maybe before, sun
Oh
was
no,
glaring in.
I'm on the GoPro right now.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say before, maybe sun was just glaring at the lens.
Hey, you guys want to go mountain bike in the outback? I got you on my GoPro. There's a bear.
Thank you for becoming a member, Mr. Johnny. Always a pleasure to have you. Yeah, brake fluid. Now, this is one's highly debatable. I hear it from people. They will run brake fluid into the ground because they don't see the advantage of changing it out. Uh, brake fluid is a hydroscopic fluid. At least we're talking about brake fluid that comes in your daily driver, folks.
They don't
Uh,
understand thermodynamics and expansion of fluids.
I flush brake fluid all the time. Even on my own vehicle, I flushed it.
yeah,
Yep.
I'm a 3-year, 30,000 mile guy. As cheap as brake fluid is, like it's $10 a quart. There's so many DIY kits at Harbor Freight.
What do you
Just go.
what do you carry at your shop? What kind of what do you get? Is what Subaru's using? They all still .3 or some of them's .4?
We have a .3 and a .4 variant. So
Because
it'll come. We allow the upgrade to a .4.
all our shop carries, all my owner carries now. We made a decision. We don't even carry .3 in the store anymore. Everything's .4. That way, there's never a mistake made. We build a system that requires .4 or suggests the use of .4, but you would have to say requires it because it says put .4 in it.
Yep.
That way, we never make the mistake of putting .3 in a car that should have .4. And it's nothing wrong with putting .4 in a car that calls for .3. It's just an upgrade. And he says the cost of the fluid is the difference in cost is it's unsubstantial. At his wholesale pricing, he said it doesn't even matter.
But we always we make sure we run 150% of the fluid volume through the brake master cylinder and all the lines, so that way whatever was in there, we don't chance it. If you had a contamination of 3 and 4, if you were running 4, if you're running 3, like we don't care what was in there. It's definitely all getting flushed out because we run 150% of the volume that is required for
What do
a
you
flush.
use? Do you use a power flusher, like a pressure flusher, or a vacuum?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
We got
Yes,
a
we have a pressure. We have a pressure flusher.
yeah, we got
Pressure
it's
flusher.
an all-in-one cart. So
Yeah.
you hook it up to shop air. It adds about 10 psi to the brake fluid reservoir, and then we vacuum out the fluid. So it's very efficient. You can do the whole job once you're fully trained on it. It shouldn't take you more than like 20 minutes.
Yeah, we have a BG brake flush machine is what we use.
Yeah, that's the same one. I'm just avoiding giving credit to our 2-letter friends.
I can't afford the fancy stuff. I got one of those Autel power flushers. It actually works. Autool, those Autools, it works pretty good.
Yeah. Now we're going. Yeah.
Hey, some people that say I flush is bullshit. Flush is bullshit. I got customers tell me that. Then our sales associate shows them, hey, not only passing the moisture content test, it's passing the copper particles per million test. There's too much copper in it, blah blah. And somehow or another, sales associate maybe he discounts brake work we're doing a little bit to kind of help sneak in the cost of that brake flush and not make it so it's overwhelmingly expensive or anything. You wouldn't believe how many customers would come back and be like, oh my God, I cannot believe how good my brake pedal feels now.
Yep. Yeah. Well, you lose braking power. You put wear and tear on the electronics and that of the ABS system, and premature wear on all the components of it. But it's just dangerous. It's just dangerous because you lose braking capacity.
Dennis B is making a comment. What about .5? It's an overkill. .5 is a full synthetic brake fluid, and I do not believe it's compatible with the .3 or .4 system and the rubber components that are used in it.
.5.5 can't be used in .3 or 4.
Well, .5 was originally invented. Did you know it was originally? You know what I was told. You know how .5 was originally produced and invented for?
No, teach us.
I don't know if this is true. I'm just saying. I heard
I like urban legends. Let's spread them.
I heard Harley Davidson was the ones that really got chemists to get involved in producing a brake fluid that would not remove paint.
Yep.
Because of the vibration of the Harley, sometimes the little slave cylinders and stuff would leak, and they didn't want paint coming off their bikes because .3 and .4 will eat paint.
Yep.
Ah,
That's what I was told.
I don't know if there's truth behind that, but
That's what I was told. And it was,
that's Devin
I've
says
seen
thank
it
you for
firsthand.
Tesla
I've got
advice.
customers that own Harleys. I've seen it firsthand.
Harley,
I had my
Harleys
had
I've
my
ever
first
seen
car.
take .5, and it's full synthetic brake fluid, but it does not destroy paint. It'll just make the paint shiny if it gets on it. You wipe it.
No, I had my first lesson in visually actually seeing .5 up front when a customer came in. I was very worried when I did my inspection. I says like it's like, you know, your fluid reservoir is like all green and you only have like 30,000 miles on here. This shouldn't be green. It should be like Mountain Dew colored, yellow, one of the two. And he was very adamant in educating me how great this new fluid was. And I scratched my head and says, I've heard somewhere that you should not be running this upgraded fluid if you don't have the compatible components to go with it. I says, you got to check your resources. You can't just go stab in anything that says performance based into your vehicle. You might need different lines, different pumps. This thing could ruin your O-rings, like your square seals and your calipers.
If I'm correct, it's a silicon based synthetic fluid.
I think it was because he came back the next day and said, "Get it all out of my car."
My first impression, that was originally designed for race car drivers. And then somebody, I'm trying to remember who told me this story about Harley Davidson. They're like, no, the race cars were running .4. You know, they got all those fancy calipers and fancy ass vented slotted rotors on them, all that. They can cool down. The .4 works just fine for them, like for NASCAR and all that. So I don't even know.
Yeah.
Does the NASCAR run .5?
Well, that's the thing is automobiles. They actually have.
Someone in chat's going to tell you what race cars are running. I guarantee it.
What difference between bikes and cars? Cars have like brake assisted pumping. A lot of bikes don't really have that much assisted braking. So by having fluid that has a higher boiling point, gives you more pressure continuously and constantly, because those motorbike brakes like Kawasaki's that. They get hot really fast, and so to me it just only makes sense that's what it was originally designed for, was high RPM motor vehicles, motorbikes, and some of the higher end sports cars.
But Cody, you want to know if there's a way to prevent rust on brake lines? My best suggestion to you would be to either order or go purchase. You can get it at Home Depots. It's called Fluid Film, and then there's one made by the same company that makes PB Blaster. I think it's called I can't remember what it's called now. I'm thinking. Yeah, Fluid Film. Crown Rust Proofing makes a spray that's out of Canada, and then you have Surface Shield. It's made by the same PB Surface Shield, and then just get up under your car and spray all your lines with it, and do it at least once a year, not every 6 months.
What do you got there, Turner? What are you showing off?
That's rust converter.
Rust converter.
What I do is
converts your car to rust.
When I lift up a vehicle and I see any signs of rust forming, I'll give it a quick blasting and I'll hit it with this stuff to convert it. But even on my vehicles, all my vehicles, when I put new lines on, I actually spray this stuff on and I rubberize it.
Well, Cody, if you're living in New England, I live in Michigan. I would strongly suggest you look into getting your car sprayed down with the fluid film of some type. Fluid film, Crown, KRWON, rust proofing. That's a company out of Canada, but there's many locations in the United States. But look up guys that say fluid film it, and what's that other big name oil-based spray?
Man, I haven't used that monkey jizz in like 20 years, man. So I don't
Yeah,
know any
you-
of the names anymore.
Yeah, you have fluid film out of wool wax, I think it's called wool wax.
I think I got a bottle. I think I got a bottle of it still in the garage because we did a campaign where we had to fill up some control arms, and it was getting thrown around the shop, and I just kept it for gee whiz in case I ever needed it, because it runs about $70 a quart, and just spray it all up into the unibody of the car.
Yeah, I get my car sprayed once a year, my truck, and there ain't a bit of rust on it.
Turner, they're asking. Seawalker wants to know
This works
what
just fine.
what kind of boat you driving.
It's not a boat, so right now I've got two buses. I got a 1973 MCI Crusader 8, and this is my 83 MCI Crusader. And I use them I used to use them when I was running my construction company, and they'd hold all the tools. One has a little office and a tool shed in the bathroom. This one has all the tools in it. And I just drive them to the job site, park them there, got all the tools, got an office, got washrooms, lunchroom, and it was just the easiest, cheapest way to do it.
And the view is amazing. You get this panoramic view.
Yeah,
I get my car, I get all my vehicles, all the vehicles I own, that I'm gonna keep, that I bought, paid for. So I'm guilty of leaving leases alone. So my mother's car is not crown rust proofed, but every other vehicle in my household gets a crown rust proofing coating once a year, and everybody says, well, that's too much. I get done once a year. I live in Michigan. Our cars are rust free. I mean, you might have some minor surface rust in certain spots in my frame, but for the most part, the vehicles are rust free, and it costs me $150 a vehicle per year. It's very reasonable price. I've had people say, well, why don't you buy the stuff off Amazon and do it yourself? You have your own bay, your own hoist. You got your own airlines, let them do it. $150.
Dennis is asking, yeah, we covered CVTs. I like to recommend that you at least try to start your first fluid change before your factory warranty is up, which is generally like 5 years, 60,000 miles. Try to get one in before then, because if you are skeptical about changing the fluid causing problems, as long as you did it at a dealership with their fluids, then they can't hold it against you. Okay, if you went somewhere else and you put in a different brand of oil, they might hold that against you. But if it's if it's a trend you want to start it at a dealership, and that's the best way to hold that transmission over the manufacturer's head, is saying, hey, like, I've been meticulously maintaining it better than you recommend with your product by your trained technicians. So when something does happen, you can ask for a little bit of help. A lot of people think that the manufacturers like to tell people to kick rocks, and it really comes down to how you present the problem to the dealership and to the manufacturer. If you got your facts and you're calm and you're not giving them like these epic long stories, and you just got your bullet statements. Everything's in order. I've used only OEM stuff. I hired your people to do the work. I'm experiencing a problem. Just reaching out. Can you help me out with this? You'll get some positive responses. But if you go in full Karen, making it their problem, they'll make it your problem. They really will. It's a lot of, you get, what's the phrase? You get more honey with, you get more bees with honey, but you'll get more wasps with attitude.
Evergreen, you can spray fluid film on anything on that car. Like you said, avoid the rotors. You spray it on the frame rails. You can spray it inside the body panels.
Yeah.
You can spray it on frame. I mean, they spray it on heavy, and it will drip. It will drip for a little while, but it's a natural product that I believe it derives from from the oils from sheep's fur or whatever. The
Wow.
what they call it. It's natural. It's not a
Dude, that's using the blood of lambs. That's some Old Testament shit, man.
lanolin based.
So Fluffy's a Nissan specialist mechanic, and he's recommending
Non-toxic,
25,
non-hazardous,
30,000
so
miles.
it doesn't hurt anything if it drips, but you can spray it on everything on your car, tire rod ends, shocks, struts. Yeah, you're going to want to avoid your brake rotors, but
And some of those kits have the option of buying a plug kit to go with them, so you plug up all the orifices too once you're done spraying everything, right?
yeah, they drill holes in certain spots and they spray up into the doors, up into your rocker panels, up in your cab of my truck, the 9 yards, tailgate, the truck. They take the tail lights out, they spray all up in the bed of the truck. It will drip for about a week or so if you don't want it in your driveway, if you have a cement driveway parked in the street, but the rainwater will eventually wash the stains away. And you don't want to get your car. You don't want to go get your car and get an undercarriage wash. If you get your car rust treated like this, don't do undercarriage cleanings no more. Just leave the shit there. It creeps, it seeps, it gets into everything.
Yeah. Let's see. It's another good preventative maintenance if you're in the Rust Belt is when I was up in Michigan, I'd take the fender liners out of the car right after fall. And all those leaves, spring and fall, I'd take fender liners out because all those bottom of the corner panels, that's where all those leaves collect.
Get caught up and stop
moisture.
water from draining. The shit just sits there.
Yeah.
So it's every F1 Shitty and every Chevy Thunder. Man, you find a pound of dead forest in there. So if you got a work truck, if you got any kind of truck and you're up there in the Rust Belt, that's a pretty easy job to do in your driveway. Just take a tire off, go buy some fresh clips, and clips are cheap. Clips are really, really cheap. And you can knock that out. That takes about 1 beer per fender to knock out.
Yeah.
Unless you got some sort of Lincoln carpet.
Unless it's an old Ford that has the 5.5 millimeter bolts holding the fender on.
Yeah, if you've never done it before after 200,000 miles, you might just be binding a new fender and a frame.
Somebody asked me how long it takes me to cut my lawn at my house. And I said, if it's 70 degrees outside, 2.5 beers. I said, if it's 90 outside, probably 6 beers. That's how long it takes me. And they're like, what? I'm like, dude, I started dripping sweat after taking a couple walks around the yard out in that blazing sun. I sit down on the patio, sit there and have me a beer. Got to rehydrate yourself. You got to stay well hydrated.
Yep. Dennis, we talked about the best CVTs. I threw a salute out to Mazda. We had Quick Range gave a salute out to Honda. Turner, you want to give a say out to who you think is making a good CVT?
I'm gonna have to go with, because when I go to the shops to do diagnostic and that and help them out, I'm gonna have to go with the one that I don't see the most, and that's BMW. I've never seen a BMW CVT getting serviced or anything in that shop.
You got any moderators?
Thanks to your training, I was able to teach the boys at the shop how to do the Subaru CVTs right.
Nice.
You got any moderators, Baja?
No. Let me see if I can promote any of them.
Promote Fluffy, maybe Huso, Sergio. Every once in a while, you got somebody making some stupid ass comments.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that time. It's that time of year when the trolls they got to come out from under their bridge because it's a little too hot.
You can do it from YouTube. You just go into YouTube and.
All right. Let me get into. I think I got to do it from my YouTube channel, or do I do it from my
YouTube?
Duh.
You can do it from the live stream, I believe, Canny.
Oh, that's right. Yes. I got to go into my studio and then launch it. Yeah, you guys keep them entertained. Let me see if I can promote up some moderators here.
Entertained.
No, tires. I'm a big promoter of watching your tires. I got my ass ripped by the community because I was telling them I like to recommend tire replacement, no matter of tread depth, starting at 5 years. Because
Yeah,
too many people are running tires into the ground.
if you have your stream up on YouTube and you just like click, say I'm like Fluffy, you click on one of his comments, it should be able to give you the option of making a mod. Now, managing moderator gives them more rights than just a standard moderator.
Well, a lot of people don't realize this rubber does have an expiry date, and it doesn't last forever. It actually does break down and degrade over time.
No, the truth of the matter is, under the Department of Transportation rules and regulations, there is no such thing as an expiration date on a tire as a consumer to own it.
Yeah.
Now, I will say a reputable tire shop will not install a tire on a car.
Yeah. That's past a certain point.
Like that customer brought into them that's over 5 years old, and you cannot sell a tire as new that's older than 5 years. If that expiration date passes 5 years, believe it or not, you go to Discount Tire or Firestones or whatever tire stores you can think of. I only know this because I worked at Firestone for years. If that tire hits 5 years old, they're doing an inventory in the shop, or the manager comes across or sales associate comes across the tire is over 5 years old. They clearly document the dot number on it. They actually drill out a hole in the sidewall and they discard the brand new tire.
Yeah.
Because we are legally not allowed to sell. You're not allowed to sell it anymore.
Yeah, same up here.
Except we got our asses ripped
up and recycled into road asphalt.
Yeah, we got our asses ripped for not drilling holes in the side of tires once we changed them out.
Yeah.
What brand you guys recommend for longevity and daily driving? If you're talking tires, tires, I would say Michelin makes a pretty darn good product.
Michelin, Cooper,
Firestone
makes a good affordable product.
Cooper. Yeah, I think it's important to let them know that when a tire is rated for a certain amount of miles, like if you buy a tire that says it can go 80,000 miles, from what I understand about tires, that's going to be a really stiff tire, and that's going to give you a different driving experience versus a tire that is rated for 40,000 miles.
I will say this: an 80,000, because I have a lot of knowledge about tires because I worked for Firestone for too long of my career, way too long in my career. I was with them until 2016, so I've been gone from them for 8 years now. So I was with them for 21 years. The way a tire can get rated for 80,000 miles is because the rubber compound is way harder on it, thus less likely to shred. You may have noticeably less traction on wet pavement, no matter what they rate it at, no matter what they say. And if you live in an area where you see winters, the 80,000 mile tire typically will not like snow or salt at all because of how hard the rubber compound is. Plus now it's cold, so the rubber's even harder. I still think, bang for your buck, your best tire you're going to get is a reputable brand in the middle of the road. Your 50,000 mile tire. Yeah. Like down in Texas, you guys probably see tires that look like total crap at 5 and 6 years old because of the extreme heat you guys have.
Oh, I don't know who it is. And the bacon grease. They put the bacon grease on the sidewalls.
Shit on the tires. Oh, yeah.
There's someone on YouTube that was telling people to go and put EV tires on their cars. And I've seen a lot of people going into the shops here asking for EV tires on their cars. Do not do that. Those tires have to get changed out a lot faster, a lot more often, a lot more sooner. And they are not suitable for your everyday your daily driver.
EV tires are they have two different things are designed in an EV tire. One, it typically is able to handle a heavier load than their standard passenger car tire, and they're also considered a low rolling resistance tire.
Yeah,
but they also are made to handle a little bit more weight, because your typical EV is roughly 40% heavier than equal sized counterpart that's combustion engine. Like an EV Hummer, put this into perspective. An EV Hummer, which is not a huge vehicle, it's not small, it's not huge, has a curved weight of around 9,500 pounds.
No.
that 9,500 pounds, I'm trying to get that would be equal to the weight of an F350 single axle, not dual, not like single or not single wheel, not dual wheel, an F350 diesel extended cab 8-foot bed. So that little Hummer EV weighs as much as that big, long Ford Super Duty diesel truck.
Yeah, quick rinse. Dave, say something in chat so I can get you promoted. I got it all figured out. So I got you, I got Turner, Fluff, and Sergio, and all as my new drill sergeants here. As far as my favorite tire for Subaru brands, I've had very, very positive experience with recommending the Firestone wide oval set of tires just for my area of Texas. They tolerate the heat well. They tolerate it when a little moisture gets on the pavement and the roads get a little slick because of the standing oil. They tolerate the little bit of cold we get here. And for the all-wheel drive system, they wear down very evenly. The edging on the tires don't rip apart like I see with the other brand, like Continental. The Continentals, our all-wheel drive system, they just rip the sides of the tires, not the side walls, but just the side edging apart from people just clocking their steering wheel all the way left or right trying to get out of a parking lot.
Firestone makes a solid tire. We still install quite a few Firestones at the shop I work at now, and we actually get them from the shop I left. We buy them right from the shop I left from, but we don't do a ton of tires though.
Yeah.
It's hard for us to compete with the actual tire stores. We're an independent shop. So I mean,
yeah. And for heavy duty applications, for pickup trucks and that, if you're hauling heavy loads, I'm actually going to tell you, get some Hercules, because they wear. It takes longer for them to wear. The treads last longer. They're a little bit thicker and meatier for punctures and stuff like that for the heavier roads and that. But for big commercial tires, I'm gonna go Goodyear on that, because Goodyear's never ever let me down, and their warranty.
Winter tires. If you're talking a snow and ice tire, Cody, snow and ice tire, from my experience, when I worked for Firestone Complete Auto Care, nothing will beat, and you're going to have to change them. They will be only used in the winter months. You can't beat a Bridgestone Blizzak.
Yeah.
The Bridgestone Blizzak grips on ice and snow insanely. It's amazing.
Ray's got a question here. Perhaps I'm backtreading in the discussion. There's no problem to it. It takes a while to digest this information. However, what are you noticing with B mode on the Prius and Crosstrek and wear and tear as it is on the brakes? I don't see a lot of braking problems with the Prius or the hybrid Crosstrek because we have the regenerative braking system built into it. So when you actually step on the brake pedal, it's using the electric motor as an alternator, and it's like doing an electric motor engine brake to decelerate your vehicle, and it uses that momentum to charge up your battery a little bit until you actually really need to get mechanical braking assistance, and then the mechanical brakes kick in. But the actual brake pads, whoa, God, like Priuses go twice as long on brake pads because it's using that regen braking system through the EV system. But usually when I see Priuses come out of the great up north, they end up getting pads and rotors because the rotor's just so rusted out because it's never been machined in its entire life and it's got 60,000 miles on it. But yeah, Dave's kind of right. There's now that I've opened myself up with the vertical stream, there's definitely a lot of trolls in here.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's all right. We don't have to pay attention to them.
I may look like a troll, but I'm not one.
No, so we got our engine oil, we got our transmission fluid, we got our brake fluid. There are some cars out there that still have power steering fluid. I
Coolant.
It's fluid, change it out. It loses its cleaning properties, its lubrication properties, its stability. And power steering fluid is a super, super easy DIY fluid change. The reservoir's right there. You can go get a $30 little syringe fluid extractor from the Harbor Freight, like $30. You suck out the fluid in the reservoir, you top it off, then you turn your vehicle on, you cycle the steering wheel back and forth a little bit, and you repeat that process for about 30 minutes.
It's even easier than that. You can just disconnect the return line, put it into a pail, and pour it in.
I don't trust unless they show me they have a mechanic stall. I don't trust to give that advice.
No. That's how I used to always do it. Hop in the truck, turn that steering wheel back and forth, and I don't be pouring the jug in.
I had one poor customer. He watched a YouTube video and he wanted to do a DIY transmission flush, and he saw a video of a guy who took one of his lines off and he put one line into a 5-gallon bucket and he had another bucket full of brand new fluid. And he says, "Well, it's supposed to suck it up, right?" I go,
"You have to pour it in. You have to be pouring it in."
I was like, I'm not going to comment on that other than you should not have gone down that rabbit hole. Wow. I was like, you don't know if that's supposed to be a pressure return line. I was like, it doesn't have, it's not a vacuum return line. It's like that. I was like, I don't even know what transmission that guy showed you that video on, how old that vehicle is. I was like, that's quite a hack that he was showing off, but I would not do that service unless I had like a thorough understanding of how to do it.
Before you do anything on your car, you should do your research. Before you do anything to your car, do your research first.
Yeah, so like
if you don't have diagrams, email me. I'll give you the diagrams.
Yeah, like the fluid exchange machine that we have for our transmissions. It has a 15-gallon dual bladder tank in it. So we hook up a line to the machine hooks up to any transmission line on the transmission. It's just an interceptor. And it doesn't matter what order you set the lines up in because it has a ball valve so you can switch it if you get the line connect wrong. So it has a fluid flow meter. You hook it up. You check the fluid flow meter and you go, okay, it's going the wrong way. You flip it. Now it's going the right way. And then once you put it into fluid exchange mode, the old fluid comes in to the top bladder and it pushes down on the bottom bladder and squeezes out the fresh fluid. So it's using the own force of the transmission against itself. There's no pneumatic assistance. There's no electronic motor assistance. But people that was how we grenaded a lot of transmissions back in the day, especially in the 90s when I observed it. That's why I don't call it a transmission flush anymore, because there were power flush machines that would actually force the fluid through the transmission and it would blow seals. Yeah. So the machine that we use, it's only using the pumping power of the transmission. The transmission does all the work. You don't rev it. You just let it sit there.
What machine are you guys using? Is that a BG one too?
It's one of those 2-letter companies, yeah.
Yeah. I think the BG machine and the Everware and the Winds machine, I think they're all the same.
Probably, but it's a solid machine. If you treat it right, nothing goes wrong with it.
Not to change subject on transfer, but I do have to make an interesting comment about one thing. A friend of mine bought his son a vehicle with a Ecotech 2.4 liter in it, and after buying it, he realized it has an oil consumption issue. And I mean, it's like eating up a quart of oil like every 500 miles. It really don't smoke bad or anything. He comes up to, he says, I was researching stuff online, and what do you think about this Valvoline Protect and Restore? It claims that it'll clean things and blah, 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 and it'll clean out piston ring grooves and all the sludge and varnish on this and that over time. Doesn't do it like instantly, but over time in use. I said, well, Valvoline's a reputable brand. It's been around for a while. I don't pay attention to all different oil products that come out. I said, yeah, let's give it a try. So we've done 3 oil changes on this car in the last 6 months. And the last oil change I did using the Valvoline Protect and Restore, he is no longer having an oil consumption issue.
Yeah.
And it's a full synthetic oil by Valvoline that claims it will continuously clean while protecting the motor. That'll actually clean out your piston ring grooves and all that. So these low tension, what do they call them? Low tension piston rings, or what are they called? They give a new term to all these piston rings on these engines now. Low friction.
Yeah. I
Piston
think that's the word you're fishing for.
Yeah, low friction piston rings. Yes, they're real sensitive to any sludge and varnish that can build up in the ring groove. And they can actually get stuck in a position where they're not popping and expanding the way they should because there's such low friction. But I think this stuff is working. I think he did have some rings that were sticking a little bit because his oil consumption issue is going away. And it's been about, it's a young kid. So when I say we've done like 3 oil changes in 6 months now with this oil, I think that's also, this kid's put on about 15,000 miles. I mean, he's 17 years old. He drives just to drive. I don't know if you remember those days.
Yep.
You just drive to drive. You got nothing better to do. You get in your car and you drive.
There's only 2 additives that I recommend to people, and the only 2 fluids you cannot put it in is your coolant and your brake fluid, but motor coat, and arch oil. And actually, if you put it in everything other than your brake and that, it actually makes a huge difference on your wear, your tear, your amount of oil you're burning, the temperature of your engine, the temperature of your steering fluid, temperature of your differential. Actually, those 2 products are the only 2 things that I will endorse to add to your vehicle. And for coolant, I'm always going to tell you, I don't believe in universal. Use what your manufacturer says. I don't believe in universal. I don't.
Yeah. As far as Rusty's comment about the Pirelli tires, yes, they are a very soft tire. And with the Subaru all-wheel drive system, depending on what your driving habits are, you can eat them a little bit faster than normal. Especially if you have the steering wheel clocked all the way to one side and you're trying to accelerate out of a parking lot or make a donut too far. Yeah. So you've got to be very, very diligent about your tire rotations on that so they wear down evenly. But no matter what tire you have, you got to monitor your tire rotations and you have to observe your driving habits. Do you make really fast U-turns? Do you have your steering wheel clocked all the way to one side as you come out of an intersection trying to get in? All those things can accelerate a specific wear down on your tires. And then also always get your alignment checked when you get brand new tires. Tires are fucking expensive nowadays. Just on a basic 2020 Outback, they're running about $1,000 to $1,200 installed. And most shops are giving really good discounts on alignments if you buy a set of tires and an alignment, because they know that driving with brand new tires on a potentially bad alignment, even if you got a toe that's out by just a quarter of a degree, it's going to do that excessive wear down in that one spot and just ruin that tire.
it's actually there's quite a few people on YouTube that have been telling people don't believe in the alignment thing. It's a scam. It's BS. It's not a scam. Like Baja said, just a half a degree or a degree out makes a world of difference. Big difference.
A degree out, you're going to be tearing tires up. 4 or 5 degrees out, you're going to be turning. The car's not going to handle for shit. You're going to be squeaking and screeching around corners, and half a degree, you're gonna cut your life of your tires down to probably 25% of what it's rated at.
Yep. There's plenty of other companies that have already done the metrics and wasted a bunch of tires, but they're all showing, like, if you have a car that's out of an alignment and you got a brand new set of tires, you're risking at losing at least 25% of the mileage on those tires, especially on a Subaru all-wheel drive system, which is very finicky about having tread depth that is out by more than 3/32 of an inch on a opposing axle tire. That pisses off that open diff, and that can give you some traction control issues, that can give you drivetrain issues and other types of issues. So it's just not worth risking it. But always ask, if you're buying a set of tires, just be honest. Ask them, be like, hey, if I get an all-wheel alignment, is there a discount? Most of the time they'll give it to you. They won't advertise it up
If
front.
alignment's out, you're also reducing your fuel mileage.
Oh, that's a great point. Yeah.
Mhm.
You're increasing the rolling resistance.
Yep.
But I had a customer a couple weeks ago. They just straight up asked that. They must have heard it somewhere. I don't know where. But we gave them $25 off their alignment for agreeing to a full set of tires. No questions asked. We just did it.
Well, that's the thing. I've seen quite a few people on YouTube saying it's a scam. Don't do it. Don't fall for it. And those people I don't know where they get their brains from, but
Yeah, and I think there was just maybe one bad shop that started a bad trend, and maybe they got a bad alignment shop in their local area that's just doing what I call tow and goes. They don't want to do caster because it means they got to get the airbag out and they got to do it correctly. Or maybe those caster bolts are just seized up. So they're just getting under the car, they're straightening out the toe, and they ship it. They'd be like, we call it stabbing in the green. They just stab it in the green. And if you can't get something, you can't get something. Just be truthful. I was doing that with a customer a few months ago. They came in with a great up north vehicle, and I told them, I was like, your camber bolts. That's what I meant to say earlier. Camber, not caster. But I let them know. I says, hey, your camber bolts are just like complete garbage, and I don't want to, because I didn't even start the alignment. But I told them, I says, if you want to order new camber bolts, which unfortunately we don't have in stock, says I got no problem putting new bolts in if you get an alignment, because I'm not even going to risk breaking those things loose. They may not go back together. I might do more damage. Your car may. I was like, so they just, yep, sure. They left it there at the dealership. We ordered in all new camber bolts and just stabbed them in for them. Turned out to be a really good customer down the road. They were very happy to do that.
We have to change camber bolts out a lot. They're stuck in the bushings. They're seized up. By the time I get them moving and freed up, I got to replace them usually. So,
yeah, that's why I love my Chevy. Yep. Pain in the butt, money and money every single time.
I can't believe Jehu. I can't believe Firestone is still selling that lifetime alignment.
Midas is still doing it too.
Oh, dude, that is their bread and butter, though.
Yeah.
They love selling that.
Yeah, but back when I was working for them, and like I said, I left in 2016. I'd say like 90% of the lifetime alignments that came in, if they needed anything, the people were leaving and going elsewhere for repairs.
Oh,
and that was the whole purpose.
That's bad on the advisors.
Firestone's trying to get me to come back. They want me to become a technical trainer for them. I'm like, no, I'm happy where I'm at. You guys run your place like McDonald's. Everything's like Customers waiting, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, car after car after car after car. It's like, I don't know. I'm done with that.
If you want to be a trainer, I got a couple of people that'll work with you, give you a good contract. You just work at your own time, so you can still do your day job, but you might make an extra couple $100 here and there. You do an internet show, you do an on-site training, but it comes with some cool perks because you get access to a lot of free material. But they're good people. I'm going to go to a website and share some info for our people. Let's go to...
So how are you liking that Start My Car website? Have you sent in any information to help him out yet?
I gave him some Subaru information.
Yeah.
I just let him know. I says, hey, like, I went over your Subaru thing. I really didn't see anything too out of the ordinary. It's all on par. But if there's anything specific that you need, let me know, and I'll procure that information for you, because that is a very, very good resource.
Oh, I like how it's interactive. You click on stuff, and it pops it, like it'll switch up to the diagram if you click on the number, or if you click on it will take you down to the list. And it's an ingenious little website.
But he disabled the ads on my account as a courtesy.
Yeah.
So I was like, that was nice, because I did tell him, I says, you should have a patronage page or a donation. I says, because I use this thing so much. Says, I'll give you like $25 if you turn off the ads. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. I didn't think about that. I says, dude, I says, just don't go to subscription base. You go to subscription base, I am just gonna hate you.
Like with a lot of the cars that I work on, if they still have the owner's manual in it, I'll take a picture of the boxes for them, and I'll take a picture of the of all the numbering in the owner's manual for them, and I send it to them. It's like, I don't know if you have this yet, but here you go. I'm totally pro. I want to see that guy. I want to see that site become like a standard in shops. I love it.
Yeah, I'm gonna be bringing it up right now.
Yeah, and also repair information, little things. I told him he should start a tech share thing, kind of like ProDemand does on his website. I told him he should get a tech share thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna get him. I'm sending him over to my guy who runs Curian LLC. He makes a really cool voltmeter, and he's gonna integrate that website into his phone app.
Oh,
all right,
sweet.
folks. So let me give you some good information right here. This is one of my affiliates that I talk to and work with. This is CarQuest Technical Institute. They are also partners with WTI, World Pack Training. You do not need to be a shop owner to register with this website. You can be an individual, but if they ask for a shop name, just say no shop, or make up your own shop name, whatever you want. Here's what they have that's really cool. This website, it's $50 a class. You can take any online training class that they have available. Or if you want to be an accelerated learner, you can pay $99 a month, and you can take an unlimited amount of classes. If you are a shop owner, you can buy the $99 package, and you can send up, you get like 8 tokens a month. So that means that you can start enrolling your people to go. And they have everything from powertrain classes, engine drivability classes, troubleshooting classes, basic wire electrical classes. And the way that they host these classes is they're holding them just like I'm talking to you. Okay. They have a presenter, they have a slideshow, they have a chat column, and they give you the ability to open up your mic and conversate with them back and forth. They use Zoom to connect with you. So anything that runs Zoom, an iPad, iPhone, Android, any kind of tablet, a computer. So you can be on Zoom on any one of those electrical devices, and you can be interacting with them. They host these programs in all 3 different time zones. So you got East Coast, West Coast, and Central. That means that when you're signing up for them, if you are like me, if I sign up for something on the West Coast, I can take something a little bit earlier in the day and get it over with. or I could take something late at night if I'm going to have a long shift. So you tailor it to your work schedule and how late you want to stay up. But these instructors, they're very one-on-one with their students. The more you participate, the more information that they give. And their classes are not death by PowerPoint by any means. If you stay silent, they'll just teach the PowerPoint. But if you all of a sudden call out and say, I have no clue what you're talking about, you got to give me some fundamental training, they're right there. They'll start creating a new class just for you live. They are very welcome to DIY technicians, dealer technicians, mom and pop technicians, anybody who's interested in the automotive trade. They'll teach you, and their curriculum is very diverse. We have full electric classes, hybrid classes, all-wheel drive systems. We have 4x4 classes. We have multi-tiered electrical classes, fuel injector classes, diagnosing with just only a scan tool. So that means we're not even touching the engine components. We're sitting in the driver's seat and we're diagnosing as best we can with a scan tool. There's even a huge class called Developing a Diagnostic Game Plan, which is a really big wake-up call for a lot of people who think they know how to diagnose. I took it, and it helped me reflect on what my intentions were. I really didn't think it was a good idea to actually write down what I wanted to do, but it was Brandon Strickler who was teaching it, and he works with Motor Age. He's an editor there. But it just yeah.
Question, are they like, is it credited? Like, do you get like a certificate or anything that you can like add to your portfolio or any documentation that you can use towards your education?
You get a yes, you do get a certificate. It's not credited like a like any kind of like college education, but they do stand behind it. They are recognized. So if you're trying to get like any kind of like ASC working hours, that's not accredited towards it. But yeah, no, you do get something official. You're getting something more than just a gold star. And the cooler part is, even though if you buy just a month and then you cancel, whatever classes you took on the virtual training, you will forever maintain a recording of that session. But that recording will not be of the session you took. It'll be a recording of the full session. So if you were in a class and you guys with the instructor just got to talking a lot about one specific thing, because I've had students come in and they bring up a talking point and they'll say, hey, I'm actually working on a car that has that. I'm like, great. Do you have any information to talk about? He's like, yeah, I'm standing in front of my laptop right now. We troubleshot that car right there with that student. So we never finished the class, but I told him, I says, you can go back into the archive recording and you can watch the whole class. But they do have if you go to their YouTube page, let's go to CTI. Yeah, all right. Let me get that presented up there now. Let's go ahead and remove, change my screen up. Yeah, so we do have a YouTube page for them. Okay, that's going to be CTI Research and Development. And they do have some free videos up there.
You might want to put links to these in the chat, because the screen on this in this setting is really small and people might have a hard time seeing it. So that's the only downside to doing these vertical streams.
Yeah, you're right. There we go. See, just put in there in your Google search. Yeah, it's got to let me figure out how to do a zoom in on this. CTI Research Development Center. They do have a YouTube channel. They do have courtesy classes up there. One of the very, very good classes to take is the one where they do talk about pressure waveform analysis. So you more than likely will not have the technology to run this test. Okay, I understand that. Because that's called an in-cylinder pressure transducer. There we go. I got a lisp. Sorry. But here we are. It starts out with class CTI 83000. Just going through this class, you will get a completely different perspective of how an engine breathes, because they're going to teach you about volumetric efficiency. They're going to talk to you about compression, reading a cylinder and how it breathes, because basically they're using an oscilloscope and hooking it up to a digital compression gauge, and they're graphing out the compression waveform. And yes, this technology can get on the expensive side. I get that. But here's an example of what they're showing. This is your cylinder compression coming up on the first peak. Okay, that's your compression stroke. And then you have a decompression stroke. And they're illustrating the vacuum and the valves opening. If you're like a mobile tech and you're getting into doing a mobile service, checking for any kind of a misfire issues, potential bad engines, this is fantastic technology to have, because they'll even teach you how to read if an engine is out of time by just looking at the compression waveform on an oscilloscope. But it's a 4-session class, and it is amazing to listen to. You can listen to it just like a podcast while you're working. It will open your mind on how that works. Okay, we're going to go into the second one for my share, and this is what Turner and I are really excited about. My car. I really got to learn how to use OBS. This will be a lot easier with OBS. Okay, this little website here called Start My Car. Let's get that up there.
I discovered these guys a couple months ago by accident. I was just looking for a diagram for a Jaguar, and bam! So yeah. What the hell's this?
So I think Ford is the best brand to pick on.
Yeah, Ford, GM.
Because how many times have you taken that fuse box lid off and it just has a bunch of numbers on there?
Yeah.
And you're like, where do you get? I want to know what fuse is what. And I've even gone into Mitchell. I've gone into Identifix, and I'm like, what is this fuse called? And it's not there. You know where the fuses are laid? They're in the fucking owner's manual.
Just trying to find the diagram in all data and pro demand right now is hell.
There, he's got soft copies of owner's manuals. That's fantastic to have. And right there, fuse box diagrams. We're going to select the first one he's got, a 2023 F-150. And engine compartment fuse box. Look at this, everyone. You just hover your mouse over it, you get the information that you want. Okay.
And if you scroll down to the list, if you click on the fuse in the list of the fuses, click on one of those and watch what happens. It takes you right back up to the diagram.
Oh, that's amazing.
I love that.
Yeah. Now, I did talk to him, and I said, you need to make a phone app out of this.
Yeah.
Because you will be saving so many people's butts, and he is going to put that into development. He just has to find somebody, because he's not an iPhone programmer. He's not an Android programmer. So that's why I hooked him up with another one of my contacts at Curian LLC.
Yeah.
Let's get them up here. I gotta type it in correctly. Oh, come on. CURIENLLC.com. Whoa, he's got some flashy graphics now too.
Ooh.
All right, so Curian, this is a fantastic DIY voltmeter that they sell. They call it the N2. and the Into does Bluetooth to your Android or iPhone device. It runs better on the Android. I'm going to be quite honest. Runs better on the Android because he's having some trouble with getting the confirmation through the Apple Store. So with publishing stuff to the Google Play Store, they really don't care what you make, which is disappointing. So this is where we're at now, guys. And so the Curian Into, it's a Bluetooth voltmeter, does volts, amps, ohms, and current. Uh, the device is about the size of a Snickers bar. And this is really cool because you can have the test leads hooked up to it. You can put the meter right in your pocket, especially if you're working outside. You just put it in your jacket pocket. You got your 2 test leads, and now your meter isn't falling over in an engine bay. And you're reading all the measurements right here on your Android or your smartphone. Now, if you don't know how to hook up your stuff to what component or how to set your meter up to run a specific test, this app on the Android right now has about 50 preloaded tests that you can run with this. So if you want to do parasitic draw, if you want to look at your AC temperature, if you want to do a voltage drop, you click on the button, it presets up all the settings on the voltmeter, and it tells you what lead to hook up to what port. So it's very educational. He's got built-in training videos and other supporting material. And if you go to his Facebook page, he is very, very open with communicating with you about the device. So when you talk to him when you talk to the Curian company on Facebook, you're talking to the actual owner of it. Super nice dude. And their leads, they didn't cheap out. These are beautiful silicone leads. I love them. I This is the first thing I told him when he was asking for feedback years ago when he was coming out with the Into, is I says, man, the one thing I hate about every voltmeter is they give you trash leads. They're the first thing I throw away, and I got to go out and buy a good set of leads for them. And I specifically seek out the leads that don't have built-in probe tips on them. I want interchangeable 4 millimeter plug tips on them, so I can make them whatever I want. I can put an alligator clip on there. I can put a pokey probe. I can put a back probe on there. Anything I want to make it. And he said, okay, we'll do that. And they did. They went and got some beautiful silicone Cat 3 leads. You can change out the tips. You can make them whatever you want. They're 4 millimeter banana plug adaptable. And what he's advertising with this is called his run and gun kit, where you are getting an Android tablet that runs all the software just fine. It is waterproof, drop proof, and you get the Into with it and all the test leads. If you just want to buy it a la carte, it is a la carte. And there is 2 codes. I think there's Baja 25. And if either one of these codes do not work on his website, let me know. You can use Baja 25 or Baja Joe 25. If you're in checkout and either one of those don't work, email me. Okay. Here's my email. Boom, right there. That's my email. bahahaautomotive@gmail.com. All right. I'll let them know that you try to make a purchase with my code to get 25% off your purchase, and he'll straighten it out. Because basically, if the code doesn't get used for so long, the system automatically expires it. And if the code gets used too many times, it automatically gets turned off. So it's set to expire after, I think, like 6 months of inactivity and 25 uses. And they just do that. They do the 25 use thing just to keep somebody from coming in and just buying a bunch of product and reselling it. So they're just doing it for distribution. But if you're honestly trying to get one and that code don't work, just email me. I'll sort it out for you. I'll get you hooked up with the guy. But I really do like that voltmeter. And you'll like this one, Turner. The batteries in that voltmeter,
Yeah.
300 hours, 300 hours,
Nice.
2 AA batteries, 300 hours. And it has an internal SD card. So if you want to do a parasitic drawl test, you can set up the sample rate for 1 second, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, 60 seconds. And you can just leave it under the hood of the car, and it doesn't need to be connected to your smartphone. And you can leave it
just
over the
record
week.
it right to the card.
Yeah, you could you can let it record all weekend and then come back, download the information off the SD card. It exports to a Excel spreadsheet using Google Documents. And right there, you can see all the timestamps. This time, this time, this time, this time. And I had one car where that saved my butt because it was a Chevy Tahoe, had a weird parasitic drawl. And it was a used car. Nobody could figure it out. Dealership couldn't figure it out. They didn't know what was going on. And we didn't want to pay the bill because they wanted like $400 to figure it out. So they just brought it back over and they said, Joe, you figure it out where this car goes to auction. So yeah, sure, not a problem. And I threw that thing on there for a parasitic drawl, left it alone for 3 days, came back, downloaded the file. And I says, yeah, here we go. Here's something. At about 40 hours into this car sitting in the parking lot, it started having a 700 milliamp draw, and it just ran continuously, and it didn't turn off. And he's like, well, what's that? And I says, well, the only thing that's going to energize a car while it's just sitting with no keys in it is I just kind of threw out a couple of suggestions. I says, it's going to be our evap monitoring system. It's getting stuck on. Says, or something with the wireless communication with their OnStar network.
Yeah.
So we called the General Motors 800 service line for their OnStar system, and I let them know who I was. So you have to talk to them as a technician. You do have to have like an authorization number to get certain information. So we had to coordinate that with the dealership because you need a dealer code and everything like that. But I asked them, I says, tell me what this car was doing at this time. And they're like, oh, well, we were just pinging the network to see if the car was there. Apparently, like every other day, they just ping your car to see if it has any check engine lights. I says, okay, well, that's the problem then. I says, something with your data module is keeping the computer network awake. So we unplugged the data communication module for it. We let it sit another weekend. Nothing happened. So I sent it back to the dealer and I says, put that module in and program it. We're done.
Yeah.
And it ended up getting warranted because they were like, yeah, it happens.
Yeah. I'll have to get one. I'll have to order one up and play with it a bit.
Oh yeah, and if
and
you
the
find
fact
it,
that it runs on Android, my launch likes having apps added to it. Got so many apps in that poor thing.
Yeah, that's a great point you brought up too. So the APK file is downloadable on their website. So if you have a scan tool that has Android software on it and you can sideload apps, you can sideload their software. Nice. But trying to find a scan tool that allows the Bluetooth to communicate with it, that's hit and miss.
Launch all the larger launch X431 tablets, they actually connect to the Bluetooth because the Bluetooth connects to the dongle, but now they're switching to the Wi-Fi dongle, and the Bluetooth is left open. But the launches, every app that I have, I've got quite a few Bluetooth devices. Even my headset and microphone connects to it. Like I've had no problem with the launch. Snap-on, I don't know. They don't even have a web browser on that stupid thing.
Yeah,
$6,000 and I can't watch YouTube.
Yeah, it's weird with the launches because I have a couple of the launches and I have a couple of the Top Dons and some other weird brand ones, and that voltmeter is a little finicky because the Chinese diagnostic tools that are coming from Top Don and Think Diag, they're coming out of like a general warehouse, and something about the Bluetooth connectivity infringes on a privacy setting, And where a normal Android tablet, you could go into the settings and give permissions. They have a lot of the settings on these scan tools locked down on the Bluetooth communications. And I completely crashed a scan tool trying to root it and get into the advanced settings. So
I had that problem. All I did is I just changed my tablet's location for the update. So when the update came available, it downloaded the software from the American server.
interesting.
Yeah, because you can change your tablet's location in the settings, like where it's located. When you do that, the Android actually updates from the North American Android server. That's what I had to do with that one, and also my Think car. Did you hear that Think car's changing their name?
No, where are they going to go to?
They're going to Dollar Fix. When you go to Amazon now, if you search Dollar Fix, that's the new budget line. Think car's moving out. Think car's still gonna be in the UK. They're gonna still be, because they're huge in the UK and Australia and that.
Yeah.
But for North American market, they're going to become a budget, and they're going to get rid of Ansell. They're going to stop doing Ansell, and they're going to stop doing Think Car for like Amazon, that, and they're going to go Dollar Fix, and it's going to be it's going to be an Ansell pretty much, with a newer tablet and a yellow body. And a neat looking interface, but it's the same software.
Yeah, I saw that a new brand came out called AutoFix, OTO Fix, and that is basically just Think Car rebranded in a little flashy, skinny tablet. I had mixed feelings on it. They sent me one to play around with, and I gave critiques on it, and I says, guys, it's great as a bidirectional tool.
Yeah.
I says, but trying to data log my PIDs information, this thing is not impressing me at all.
Yeah.
Because and I call them out. I says, I had one of the developers right there, and I was FaceTiming with them, and I says, do you know what a rear O2 sensor should be as far as its min and max settings? And he stumbled a little bit, and I says, okay, language barrier, I get it. I says, rear O2, I want to see 0 to 1.1 volts. Why am I on a 0 to 20 volt scale? I was like, I can't see anything. It's just a straight line, man. You got to fix that.
Yeah. Well, say the thing with the AutoFix tools, they're not running a launch. They're actually running the Autel.
Yeah, they're running Autel,
and it's end lighted. It's actually missing stuff. Like I did some looking. I looked at them because, like, hey, this looks like an Autel, but this CPU is faster, the tablet's faster. And I started looking at it, how they do. Why is it so much cheaper than that? And then I'm like, well, okay, it's like the software's been somewhat altered.
Yeah. If you want, remind me in an email. I'll get you in touch with one of the distributors. He'll send you one.
I'm sorry for my brief disappearance.
Not a problem, Dave.
My phone was getting blown up by the one and only CP, the tool addict. So,
how
was Chad doing?
What's he up to?
He's going to get his puppy dog food. He ran out of dog food. He said, "This thing eats."
That's right. That's right.
He's
got a lot more than Henry used to. I ran out of dog food. So I had to run up
he didn't. He didn't really announce he got a new dog. It just showed up one day, and I was like, "Dude, you're not going to talk about this?" I was like, "We all cried when your little guy died."
No.
Like that broke his YouTube channel for a month.
I tell you, that dog's going to get him into shape really fast. That pupper's got a lot of energy.
It does.
Chad's on go.
So does my puppy. Both my dogs.
No,
it's raining outside right now, and they're mad that they can't go outside together. And like, Daddy, don't feel like giving both of you a bath, and I don't want to see the damage you do in the yard. the
No,
ground's
I'm so happy
soft.
for
They just tear it up. They just tear it up, man.
I'm so happy for Chad. Just the tone in his voice too. You can tell he's happy.
My
I
dog
love
looks like my youngest puppy looks like the golden retriever. It's on every bag of dog food, and any picture of a golden retriever on any pet product you see. That's what my dog looks like. And then the other one, I don't know. She's a mutt. She mixed, so she looks like a collie, kind of. I'd say she looks a lot like a collie.
Tell you who sent me some stuff to play around with, which I had to retract from posting anything about it because this is like, guys, I'm not going to post anything negative. I'm not going to post anything positive. I says, but you need to take this thing back to the drilling board because your tool is dangerous. But it was the X Tool Advancer OBD2 interface for your phone. It crashed a car's computer network.
Don't get me started next. I had one of their I had that D9, and that thing destroyed 4 trucks. It was like I sent it back to him, and I demanded money back. I said, "You're lucky that I'm not suing you guys for friggin' trash." Like every vehicle that it did, it screwed it up. X Tool is no like there's a reason why they don't have FCA gateway. They're I swear their software is a hodgepodge of everyone else's software mashed together.
Yeah,
it's got the FCAR interface. It's got like Autel testing. It's like it's hodgepodge. It's a dangerous tool. That X Tools. Don't buy X Tool. Don't.
yeah.
Like,
And I talked to a bunch of other creators too. I'm like, hey, do these guys send you stuff? And you're like, yeah, man. They're like, oh, don't plug that in your car.
I actually bought one because it had the big D9. It had a J box and it had heavy duty and all this stuff, man. And I put it on a couple vehicles, and it's like, damn, now I'm got to bring up my Ford software, reprogram these things from start, and I was just livid, man. Like I thought I was getting a good deal. I thought I was like, oh, this sounds great, and oh, no.
I got a good one. This is off the subject to touch, but I got a good one coming to me Monday. Or maybe they'll get showed up. Maybe they'll show up tomorrow. If it shows up tomorrow, I'm actually going to go over there to the shop and take a look at it
And play with it.
It's curiosity now. Curiosity's killing the cat.
Hey, thanks to Dave, the best scan tool I've ever owned, I was able to fix. My old OTC Evo.
Yeah, this guy, I will. I can respectfully endorse them. This is AutoFix. This is the D1 Lite. If you're just a basic DIYer and you're doing basic services at a garage, this is what you want. The AutoFix D1 Lite. Do not get the Pro version. The Pro version is only if you need to code computers. And if you're going to code a computer, you're going to want to use something a little bit more proprietary.
Yeah,
I would say. But this, I mean, you're doing all your basic services. You're doing airbag, suspension, programming, steering wheel alignment, ABS, brake bleeds, stuff like that. This is a great one and done tool. And
they're still doing the free lifetime updates, aren't they?
Nope, you get 2 years out the gate.
Oh, now they got it down to 2 years. Dang.
2 years out the gate, but it has a little purchase story in there. It's like they're advertising $99 a year, but if you they always have a special for $25. So they're giving it away.
Tools like this with this price $399, those little phone things, you get like 7 service functions or 10 service functions. Then you have to pay for each extra function you want over. And when you do the math over that, and those ones aren't free lifetimes on those phone apps. You got to renew those every year. Buying a tool like this is cheaper in the long run. Like if you're just going to use it on one vehicle just to do oil changes, then get the phone thing. But if you're going to do anything more in depth, go up to a $250 to $400 price range, because in the long run, 38 plus service functions. So this probably has about 60 total functions, because the functions that are in the.
And so the salesman that I talked to privately, He always alerts me when there's going to be a flash sale. So if there's a flash
Nice.
sale where they knock $100 off, you guys, I'll post it in the community feed. But those flash sales, they only go for 12 or 24 hours or until the items are all bought. So they'll put 125 items out there for $100 off. Just keep that in mind. But that is, if you just put it in your Amazon cart, you'll also get alerts if a flash sale ever hits. They do sell a 10-inch tablet version of this, and it's double the price, and it's the same fucking tool, so you don't need it. This little guy's got plenty of screen for you to work with, and it's USB-C out, so you could just hook it up to a TV with an HDMI converter. I got a comment here. Somebody wants to know, what do we think about the long Millennium Max? Let's bring it up and talk about it.
The price for what you get. It's a robust. It's a very robust little. I call it a pocket scan tool because you can put it in your pocket literally. But it's actually very robust. But the price on it, it's like
yeah. Look at this. So, guys, it's $458. It's not a touchscreen. You're still getting a D-pad on the side. It's not Bluetooth. It's hardwired. I'm gonna tell you to go with their other version, which is, let me see if I remember. It's a CRP EB.
Yep, the CRP BT. Yep, it should be BTE. I think it is.
Oh, it's 919.
Yeah,
there it is.
Yep, that is the cat's meow right there.
So this thing, I am loving it. I made a lot of videos about using it. I do got to put them in a playlist for you guys to find them easier. This also does go on a lot of fire sales. So what's our full retail? $539. They just got done with a flash sale on it where you could get it for $399. The interface on this is amazing. The dongle on it is super clean. It even supports OBD1 support with the dongle, so you can hook it up to a 12-volt battery or a cigarette outlet to power up the OBD1 port.
And also, it's now that one there is now at 40 service functions now. Have you noticed you got on yours? Have you got any updates yet?
Yes,
it's up to 40 service functions now. It's literally almost running the exact same software as the throttle and the torque.
So again, if this entices you, just pay attention to the community posts. I'll tell you if there's a flash sale, or you just put it in your Amazon cart and you'll get notified by your alert settings through email or a iPhone update if there's a flash sale going on. But remember, flash sales, it's only so many units for so many hours. So you got to be ready to jump on it when it happens.
Bang for buck, I will actually say that's probably the best scan tool on the market. Bang for buck right now.
That is a good point. Yes, bang for your buck. You'll get. It'll take a while before you grow out of this tool. It really will. It's like this has everything you need for a DIYer, for a professional. I do all my P0171s. I do my emission tests with it. I do all my full scans with it. So even at a dealership, I do my full scan with it because I can text the report to the actual customer.
And it's also compatible with all of their modules, their key programming modules, their TPMS modules, their tire tread module. It's coming out in 3 months. It's compatible with their VCIs, all their scopes. It's compatible with the EV software, and it's compatible with the heavy duty software. So you can expand on it, and you can actually build it up from where it is.
Okay, now Turner, I got to let them know this. With all those add-ons come more subscription prices. Okay.
Yes.
So if you buy this tool, you get 2 years free updates for the diagnostics Okay. And then every year after that, it's $100. Then if you want to get into ADOS, which is like eyesight and radar, you're going to have to buy another subscription. So now you're on two. You got diagnostic and now you got ADOS. You want to do key programming. It's a third prescription or so third subscription. So be mindful. And also, guys, this tool is bundled in 3 different fashions. So the one that pops up the most is for doing the diagnostic. So you get the diagnostic suite with the 2-year program, 2 years of free updates for the diagnostic suite. They advertise this as a key programmer combo where you get the key programming software on a 2-year subscription for free, but you do not get diagnostic software. So just be aware of what you're buying. Okay. Read the full title and make sure when you put it into your cart, you get to do the purchase. So this one right here, the EBT, this is for diagnostics. And you can purchase the key programmer software right off the tool, and you can purchase the ADOS software right off the tool.
The bang for buck, that is one heck of an impressive tool.
Now I'm gonna poop on another one of my providers because they don't watch my live streams. So it's safe to say some unkind words, but they do look at my videos. So I will be open if you guys ask. Let's get into the King of Pop, the King Bolin. I am right now playing around with their K10 unit. This is the first level of tablet that does have topology view on it. So if you guys are really, really into this graphic display of scanning where you get the topology mapping, it's generally going to put you starting at about the $1,000 area. Right now, they are advertising it with a $239 coupon on it, but I'm going to tell you guys right now is what the tool can do. I am having some interface issues. I'm finding some incomplete software on the tool. So I'm working with the people and I'm trying to let them know what I'm discovering so that they can fix it and you guys can have an enjoyable experience. But King Bolin and Think Diag, they are the same people. King Bolin is just advertising to a different country. Think Diag is your European brethren. But if you get a Think Diag tool, you're getting kind of like the first version of this crap. Let me get out of my Zoom view and show you which one I am trying to get these guys to send me because I am excited to see it. Oh, fine. I'm going to have to look for it the hard way. God damn it. This guy's too. I like this. I'll support this. Think Diag 2. That guy's amazing. Always look for a flash sale. Retails $160. You can nap it up for $99 on a flash sale. I think that's one of the best working smartphone interface tools.
Are you trying to get the Pro 10 off them?
Yeah,
the big one. Yeah, that's the Pro 10's a really nice one from ThinkCar. Actually, I had the before that one came out. They had what was called the PD8, exact same software. I loved that thing all to death. It was phenomenal. Then they came out with the Pro 10 bigger screen. I'm like, damn it, I bought too early. I've actually recommended that to a lot of people, and they're loving it. Everyone's loving that thing so far.
Yeah, so this is the one that I'm trying to get from them right now because it's Launch Think Diag and King Bolin. They're all the same people. They're just but when they do the rebrand
and Top
Don. Yeah, and Top Don too. But Top Don, you're getting a very polished version of it. I'm not finding any dropouts in the Top Don software, but when I see the King Bolin stuff, I'm finding dropouts. Like they did a bad port, so to say.
Yeah.
And that's bad when you're spending $800. You don't want to find dropouts like that. But when you buy Launch, I don't see dropouts. So I'm trying to get them to send me the Think car or the launch version of the King Bolin tool, so I can go one for one and really dissect them.
Yeah.
But the first thing that I noticed was on the Think car tool and the Think Diag version of this, I can actually go into the Android operating system of the tablet and
Yeah.
I can actually do side loading. When I go into the King Bolin version of it,
Yeah, no side loading because it has the PD8 software.
yep.
That was the only drawback that I hate about the PD8. It had no internet browser. Like it drove me crazy.
And right here, like they show you these screen controls. Those screen controls are not there. And I've already talked to them. Now it says like there's no back button, there's no home button. And they were like, yeah, well, when we took the Android home screen off, that kind of went away. This is, well, how am I supposed to navigate your damn software? And I was like, there's some screens that I get stuck on and there's no way to back out because I need that Android navigation menu down there.
I'm still waiting for King Bolin to send me my new battery tester because this one here, it doesn't print all the tests. It only prints the battery, like the actual voltage test, but it doesn't print the cranking test. That meanwhile, Auto Tool and all the other guys, they print all the tests. When you do all the tests, you can print each test out. That disappointed me in this thing. I said, man, you know what? I want to send this thing back to you, man. I hate it. It's like, yeah, I can only print out one test. Like, so they're gonna send me their big fancy one.
What
instead.
Is it you got?
It's a battery tester. It's King Bolin battery tester printable.
Oh,
King Bolin. So they're gonna send me their big fancy heavy duty one. But
I'm gonna browse through our chat and see if anybody's been standing out. And learning with Juan is just having all kinds of fun in the chat. I gave him some moderator rights, so, so he's feeling a little bit empowered. Good for you, man.
God mode initiated. When the doom music kicks in.
Yeah, you know he's been a very loyal viewer, and I trust him just based off that. He's always been cheerful in the chat. He's always been supportive. So, yeah, I gave him the keys to the city. Let him do what he wants.
Hey. Launch software.
Yeah. Yep, that's the same. That's the same interface I'm working with on the King Bolin.
My favorite function, the CAN analyzer. I love the CAN analyzer because I know how to read it. I know how to read CAN bus. I love that it comes with it.
I got to check and see if that got updated on my 919.
Well, I've got the full EV software and everything on this thing. It's fully loaded. I got I'm waiting for the tire tread examiner to get sent to me because I pre-ordered that one. It hasn't been released yet. But
and then
second I got this thing, I became like a kid in candy store. I gotta have everything. I gotta have it all. Just give it all to me.
I'm trying to get some help from somebody else who's a lot more intelligent with all these tablet software, but he is swearing up and down that he got the Handtech 4-channel automotoscope to work on the launch. He says the launch has software to run the launch oscilloscope, but the launch oscilloscope is the Handtech scope, and you can get the Handtech scope for $99 versus spending $600 for the launch one.
No.
Now I says, no way did you get it to work? And he sent me a video and he says, yeah, it works. Here you go. I'm like, well, what did you do? And he's like,
He's probably using Dan's 8 scope like I do. I run my 8-channel using Dan's on my tablet. That's probably what he's doing. Because I tried everything I could. I got one of the little 4 channels I tried everything I could to get it to interface with the launch and the Think car, and it would not interface with it.
He's using the proprietary software from launch.
Wow.
With the Handtech. So I was like, you got to tell me how to put it
with us.
Yeah, says you got to share it with us. And he's like, I don't want them to. His answer was, I don't want them to know that I figured it out because then they're going to patch it. He says it's an easy patch. He says they are just lazy programmers.
Well,
So
we're gonna
he's
have to get him to
responsible.
do it in a private stream with us then.
He says if you know anything about some basic C++, he says you'll see the error in their ways, and you can go in and you can delete the line, and any Hantech scope will plug up.
Hmm.
And I said, fine, I'll find me somebody smart.
I'll have to take a look at it. I'll have to download, because you can download the full software onto an emulator, and I'll have to tear it apart in an emulator. I'll have to take a look at it because I know a little bit about C++. I'll see if I can figure it out too. I'll have to give that a try.
Yeah. Cody's saying our Snap-on prices are insane for their scanners. That I'm gonna say that, but I think it does. I do want to give them the benefit of the doubt, and I do want to explain why they're so expensive. So one, they're expensive because they're really good testers at what they're putting out. So they're vetting their software. If you call the 800 number, you are talking to a human being within a matter of minutes, and you can tell them what limitations you hit on their tool. If there's a feature that's supposed to be on there, it's not on there. You tell them. And with their latest tools like the Zeus and the Varus Edge and even the Triton, they can remote into it and they can see what you're trying to do, and they can coach you to doing it a certain way if maybe you're doing it wrong, or they'll actually do a screen capture and they'll say, hey, try and do what you're trying to do. We're recording the information right now, and we're going to send it to our development team, and they're going to make a patch. So there was a
the other thing about Snap-on, the other thing that makes Snap-on worth its money, I refused. Like I've never owned a Snap-on until just this last year. I ended up breaking down and buying one because everyone's saying you can't make any comments about it because you've never used it. Because I've been OTC and Bosch my entire life. Bosch is now, you can't use their software unless you renew their subscription. You're screwed, glued to that, dude. No matter what, spend the money. So I had to drop Bosch. OTC is out the window because they're a distant thing. So I broke down, and I'll have to say, the repair tracks information and the repair information, when you scan a tool and you click on the code, it brings up repair, like suggested repair problems, all your automated tests, everything right there. No other scan tool actually really does that for you. There is no other scan tool.
It also
gives you all that information.
It also shows you pin numbers,
pin location,
wire colors.
Yeah.
It's got diagrams. It actually is worth. Yeah. It's a painful purchase, but if you're a serious professional, you're gonna have to get a D8 or a D10 at least, like one of their cheaper units, just for that.
Yeah. So the Zeus is definitely out of everybody's pocket, unless you're like a shop owner and you need a 4-channel scope. Stay away from it. I would say the best one to get into is a Triton.
Yeah, the D10 is nice. I got the D8
and the D10.
I got mine on clearance, thank God.
So just be aware that they have 2 versions of their scan tools. So make sure you're clearly explaining what you want to the dealer, because you can get one that does scan only, and it has no component fix information. It's just a scanner and a bidirectional tool. Then they have the tier above it where you get the scanner, the bidirectional tool, and then it has a feature called the component tester. And that is invaluable for me if you're jumping from model to model to model on different brands. Because if you get a scan for a code, let's say an EGR, all right, and you're like, there's an EGR circuit malfunction, you got to know, okay, where's my power? Where's my ground? What's my signal? All right, you could waste a lot of time in a wiring diagram, or you could easily click component tester, select EGR, and it'll give you the pin out of the plug. It'll tell you what colors those pinouts of the plugs are. And if you want to know if there's a signal on there, it'll actually give you a waveform of that signal. And it gets better too, because the component testers all have a 2-channel meter on them. It'll say, hey, dummy, if you want to do a compare and a contrast, I'll leave the good waveform up. You plug in your meter and you see what you get, and you can compare it right there. So as a learning tool, it's invaluable. So if you're going to make this a career, invest in it. And
For
like Turner was saying, if you buy an update and then you turn your updates off, you still get to keep everything you have. They don't hold back.
except for you don't get the repair information. You do have to do a monthly subscription for that repair information and stuff like that, but it's worth it. But on top of that, if you're a beginner technician getting into the trade, the Snap-on's actually going to be the best tool for you because it's going to help you with that learning curve of understanding and learning the test, learning the procedures. And like for shops, having like the Triton D10 is a must-have for inexperienced technicians that don't know how to do the test, don't know how to do it, because it guides you through it, walks you through it. And like new techs, like if you can get a used one, pick up a used one, go down, get the subscription. Just make sure that before you buy a used one, you call the serial number into your rep to make sure there's no money owing on it. So, but yeah, it's the D8's on clearance right now, and it's worth, and it's still upgradable, and still they said it's still going to be upgradable for the next 20 years. So, but and the D10 is the one that I tell you all to invest in, because it's about $4 or $5 grand depending on your truck dealer right now.
Yep. And they're always running promos. So you just tell your dealer, be like, yo, I'm serious about this tool. If there's a promo running on it, let me know what the promo is. Those guys have some backdoor coupons that they don't tell you up front. You have to ask for them. But yeah, here we are. And these are some used prices right now.
But make sure you get the serial number from whoever's selling it, call it into a rep. Make sure there's no money owing on it. Because a lot of these guys go into the truck, they get it, they delinquent their account, they put it on eBay, and next thing you go down to go renew a subscription, they're like, hey man, we got to take this away from you.
Yeah, they'll repo it.
Yeah.
It's like buying a stolen car. They'll be like, well, like whatever you owe the bank, you talk to your bank, but we're repoing this car because another bank owns it.
Yeah.
But yeah, here, like, yeah. So I think a brand new Triton starts at about $5-6 grand. There's a used one right there, 2,700. Most of the time when you see these things, they probably got about 5 or 10 good uses on them. These bigger tablet screen ones that you're seeing, these are the old Vantages. So these Vantages, they're no longer updatable. So don't get suckered into buying a Verdict or a Vantage or an Edge, because you actually need to have a rep come out and program them to update them every 6 months. Because if you miss an update, you're done. Like, you can't miss an update on them. But that's why Snap-on's enforced this new D10 and the Zeus, where everything is done over the air. So if your tool's been off for 3 months, but you've been paying your subscription, it'll just backlog the updates and you'll be fine.
And like I said, the D8 is the exact same thing as the D10. It's just a smaller screen, and they're on clearance right now. Snap-on actually has those on clearance, but they upgrade over the air. Everything's identical to the D10, but like I said, the only difference is it's just a little bit smaller of a screen, and you get all the same cables, all the same connectors. So if you want, try to get one of those on clearance while they still have that. While they still have them on the truck.
Yeah. Now there's actually some truck owners. If you ask them if they got any D8s laying around, they'll go look in their warehouse. They might still have some that nobody wanted. And I had a driver that had 3 of them, and he's like, I can't give them away. And he was selling them for $500. But here we are. Yeah.
D8. Jesus, they're still 4,000 on their website.
It was like they're worthless to him.
Wow.
They were trade-ins for
they were trade-ins. That's
they were trade-ins.
Are you sure they were D8s? Because D8's only like 2 years old.
He had a couple of Apollos. He had a D8.
The Apollos
and he had a Triton, a Modus, and a Solus.
Yeah,
but they were pretty much. He's like, this is what I owe on these things. I just need to clear my bank. I need to clear my balance books. He's like, I'm letting them go. And he says, if anybody has cash, 25% off.
Yeah.
He says, no truck debt. He says, you got to pay full pop. And they slowly trickled off his truck. But he's like, just get them off my truck, because he was just, Snap-on never asked for them, and they just stuck him with the money. But yeah, right here, this is the one thing that only annoyed me about the Tritons, is that they are hardwired to the OBD2, which is better
Yeah.
for PID updates. But I'm kind of disappointed that they didn't bother making a an upgrade feature where you could get the Bluetooth dongle to work with the Zeus dongle. So if you did want to go wireless, I think that they should have made some sort of screw-on marriage box so you could
Yeah.
buy the Zeus VCI and marry it to your Triton. I think they should have done that.
But at least they give you a 10-foot long cord. Jesus Christ, that thing is long.
Yeah, and you know how many of those I've seen get thrown off a car because they lay them on the windshield and then they reach over the steering column to turn the power off or turn the power car back on, and then they hit the switch stock for the wiper blades and they go,
Yeah. Right. Oh God, I'm like sitting there trying, like, how am I going to roll this thing up? I'm like, what? Little lasso. Oh God. And the other thing is too, the Tritons and all that, they work with generic OBD1 connectors. You don't have to buy the expensive Snap-on OBD1s. I use my launch adapters on my Snap-on. Works perfectly fine for OBD1.
Now, if you do want a full display tool and you don't care about getting updates and you want a 4-channel scope, then you can go out and you can find a Veris Edge. Be aware, I told you that updates on this thing are hard. They're still supported, but it's your responsibility to track down a dealer and get it updated if you buy a subscription. But these things are going for chump change. I've seen them as low as $1,500 with a 24 update. So right there, you got a 24.2 domestic update, $2,500. Buy it now. And that's pretty amazing to get a full bidirectional tool, a full 4-channel scope with the component tester. You could do a lot of damage with that thing. I mean, if you're actually doing diagnostics, you could pay that tool off in a year just by diagnosing cars. So I got taught a lot about the Snap-on tools. They really took me under their wing and they really showed me why this tool costs like this. And it's their support network, guys. It's really their support network. And I didn't understand how invaluable their support network was until I started using Topped On and King Bolin and Think Car and X Car, the X Force versions, till I got to the competitors and I emailed them. And I learned this too. So here's a good tactic. If you're like, man, I found a competitor against these Snap-on expensive tools, I'm going to get the AutoFix, I'm going to get the King Bolin, I'm going to get the Topped On. You know what? Go to their website, send them an email through their contact us. See how fast they reply. A lot of these websites like AutoFix, OTOFix, King Bolin, X Advance, they don't reply back to you. They go to nowhere. Their 800 numbers don't work. The only one that's working is Topped On right now, and even that's sketchy. I was on hold
I have no
for 2 hours.
problem. Every time I reach out to launch, Kim's always there for me. Seriously, Kim, she's like my best friend on this damn thing. Like, you're missing this. Can you guys figure it out for me? Oh, I talked to engineer right now. I take care of it for you right now. It's like, okay, thank you. Kim, do you ever sleep?
I didn't talk to launch with my new CRP 919 to see if the chat bot worked. But when I tried to use the chat bot with the Think Diag 2, I was really told to kick rock so many times.
Actually, I did my complaint on the tool in the log complaints, because on the tool you can actually send a complaint and it will ask you for an email that. And now every time I have a problem, all I have to do is just email Kim, and within like literally an hour to 2 hours, I've got a response. He's like, oh, and she knows I'm not on WhatsApp, so she'll load up another little web page, send me a link, and I just click onto it, and we chat back and forth, and I was like, great, cool. But they always want you to do that WhatsApp thing. That's the only thing that drives me crazy.
Yeah,
WhatsApp?
that is.
WhatsApp?
Yeah, WhatsApp is like their.
It's sketchy. It's sketchy.
Yeah, that's like their Apple Pay in China. Like everything's done through WhatsApp. They get jobs through WhatsApp. They order food through WhatsApp. It's their major communication
Right. Do you have WhatsApp?
tool.
No, I have Skype.
But yeah, WhatsApp. There's I watched a YouTube video on it because they have like a 30-page fine print, and that guy was like, "Do not put WhatsApp on an American phone." He's like, over in China, he says your privacy is invaded out the womb. But he's like, over here, you put WhatsApp on your phone. He's like, there's stuff that you can't get off of it. He's like, especially on Android. He's like, there's just like no protections. He said, so he's like, be very careful when you put WhatsApp on a device. And he was showing that he just has a little $50 Android tablet from Alibaba. Yeah. And he's got a burner phone. And he says, that's my WhatsApp phone. And he says, and there's nothing on there that they can have.
No information. Yep.
Yeah.
That's smart.
He said, and like everything, all his communication on WhatsApp goes through a VPN. He's like, they don't get anything on me. And he's one of those, he works for like a scam protection agency. So he's always reading fine print and going and talking about it. But he does work with Chinese developers, and he's just being loyal to other consumers in other regions and letting them know, he's like, don't trade money on WhatsApp. Don't let WhatsApp see anything on your phone. He says they're shady. They're shady. They say that they're not looking at things on your phone. He says they look at things on your phone. He was demonstrating on one of his burner iPhones that he had. He put WhatsApp on there, and he wrote a whole bunch of like fake information into his notepad, which was to simulate like checking account numbers and routing numbers and passwords. Like he was just trying to keep track of all the stuff you wouldn't remember.
Yeah.
Well, his developer app that he loaded onto his phone kept track of how many times that notepad was open. He said since WhatsApp was installed, he says 100 times a day that notepad was opened.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. They're going, oh, we have to make sure they have good social credit score for when we take over America. Your social credit score no good. You move Canada.
Yeah, TikTok, that's another weird one that I have mixed issues with. I know it's got some political feelings to it, but it's a phone app that's owned by a different country, and if you're not reading those user agreements, you could be agreeing to let them look at things. Even though you click on that button that says do not share my information, there's still workarounds. So the only thing that I feel safe knowing is that Apple still allows it on their store. So if Apple allows it on the store, then there must be just a little bit of safety to it.
TikTok's on a verge of a takeover right now by one and only Mr. Wonderful Kevin O'Leary. Did you know that?
Yeah, they're like that. You'll be able to watch TikToks at every Boston Pizza.
Kevin O'Leary is looking at buying TikTok. The guy from the Shark Tank. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, the bald dude from Shark Tank.
Yeah, he's looking at buying TikTok.
Well, they've been trying to find an investor to control it on this continent for months and weeks and years.
He figures the deal will be done according to what he says by January of 2025. So
he has the means, he has the money, and he has the resources to do it too. Like, he may not be the richest man in the world, but he's got a lot of resources.
And he's got a lot of Chinese factories.
Yep.
The man brags about it on the show. He's like,
Yeah,
"Do you know
I
how many
know.
Chinese factories I have?" He's like, "I
Yeah, I
could
know.
sell that. I could sell that for $5 pop." I was like, "You make it for 20, I make it for 5. I sell it for 10."
Yeah. Yeah.
So even though Mr. Wonderful might buy them, it doesn't mean it's not going to be Chinese run.
No, you'll be monitored by the Canadian government.
Sergio says we chat in Chinese.
Now that's the scary.
All right, gentlemen. We're coming up on 11:15. I'm gonna wind the conversation down. Let's scroll through the chat and see if we missed any questions, whether they're here or not. Make sure that everyone got some input. There's some big shit talkers in the chat though. I know I've already put a couple of them in timeout because they got a little feisty. Yeah, there's people have some weird opinions about mechanics, okay? There's mechanics who how do we explain that, guys? I don't think they're intentionally trying to rip you off. I think that they're just trying to do a base repair and call it a win, but they don't have the ethics or maybe the knowledge to actually say, hey, because you ran this into the ground, I'm only fixing what you told me to fix, but these are the repercussions that you need to be aware of. So I've worked around those mechanics, and yeah, it's like they do band-aid fixes, they get people back on the road. And if those customers are if they know that they're getting a band-aid fix, they know that they're buying a chicken wire fix and they're okay with it. Okay, cool. Your warranty is good as the taillights on the horizon. Okay. As soon as they cross the horizon, warranty gone. And then you have mechanics who actually work in a franchise, they work in a dealership. You can't pull that nonsense. If you don't know what you're doing, you say you don't know what you're doing. If you don't have the tool for the job, you say you don't have the tool for the job. If you think that there's going to be repercussive damage to the vehicle based on the repair that you're doing, because there's maybe too much frame rust and they want suspension work done, you got to call it out. So there's been plenty of points. I got one of those cars in my shop right now. I'm not afraid to work on tuned cars. And I have a customer with a tuned car. He's got a front mount intercooler. He's got a big ass turbo. He wants his valves covers resealed. Okay, customer, I got to take your plumbing for your turbo and your front mount off the car in order to do this job. Secondly, I got to charge for that. Third, I'm going to charge you for a pre and post test drive, meaning I'm going to take that car on a data log drive before I even work on it. And I'm going to record how well it performs on the access road, on the highway, and idling. I'm going to do a 10-minute test drive on all those parameters. I'm going to record it. When I take your mods off your car to do the engine repair and put your mods back on, I'm going to do a post-check drive. If everything lines up, your car's good. And you're paying for all that extra service. Because I've had too many times with modified cars, guys say, my car runs worse. Because you never drove the car initially to determine how well those mods are working on that car. I'm not saying that those people previously tried to bait and switch me, but I felt like that's what it was. I felt like I got set up. So some people got some free work done on their cars because I had to fix their fucking mods. So if you work on modded cars, charge for that pre and post delivery. It'll cover your ass very well. Yeah. Paul P's already, Garage Monkey's already calling it out. Nap time. Everyone's calling nap time. I agree, guys. Hey, we're also on Fluffy Mix Mechanics show, and we're on JT's show. A lot of us like to get on. We like to shoot the breeze. We'll talk about our tools. We'll talk about our repairs. If you got repair questions, go ahead. Talk about us. Turner's open all the time. He's already said it. I'm open all the time. There's the email right there. Okay. If you got an automotive question, I'm happy to talk with you in email. Just please tell me what the year, make, and model of your car is. Just don't say my car does this. All right. I need some basic information. Give me a VIN number. I can work with that. Give me a computer code. Always be looking on the channel because I'm putting out discounts to get one of these little pocket scanners that link up to your phone. So at least you can email me that information you got and I can help you from there. I can give you some guidance. Because as much as the advice that's for free at the corner auto parts store, those guys sell auto parts stores and they think check engine lights are part numbers sometimes. So just be aware of that. There's too many times people have come into the shop and they got the death code, the P0420, 421, and they think they need a catalytic. And turns out that they have an exhaust leak or they have a bad O2 sensor. Maybe they got a dying fuel pump. It can be a plethora of things. There's a lot of things that set that code. So. Oh, you want to move? Yeah, we all miss a snowman.
I miss Alberta sometimes. I do, because that's where I'm from originally. It's like I want to go home.
We didn't get any this year.
I think a good story is a lady in the neighborhood. She's paying for $3,000 in bad landscaping work right now. Last year she wanted a patio, a sidewalk on her house, and a walk up to her front door. The guy that came out and assessed all the concrete to lay it in, he's like, yeah, $6,500. So she went on Facebook Marketplace and she's like, oh, I found these guys that'll do it for like $2,000-$3,000. So she was like, who's she gonna hire? The cheap people, right? So I'm driving by in the morning and I see what they were doing, and I'm like, are those guys literally throwing concrete on the grass? I didn't want to say anything, but I kind of knew exactly what was going to happen. I was like, that sidewalk's going to crack. It's going to shift. It's going to fall apart. Turns out now she's getting the patio pad ripped up. She's getting the sidewalk ripped up and the front sidewalk ripped up because it all drifted. You can't lay concrete on grass. You got to throw down some gravel. If you're making a concrete slab for a patio, you got to throw down some gravel. If you're making I'm getting feedback now. Oh, bad.
What are you doing?
Gravel. If you're making I'm getting feedback now. Oh, all right, that's my sign to get kicked off, guys. Peace out. Thank you, everyone, for coming up on the show. Dave, Turner, always a pleasure. You guys brought some great information on. It's probably Dave. Dave hasn't smiled in about 10 minutes, so that means that his shit froze.
Well, that's what happens when you use Apple.
Hey, I'm on an Apple. Come on, man.
Oh, God, I feel bad for you, man.
Hey, you know why I turned on the Apple? This is why I turned on the Apple. I was a computer systems analyst in the Air Force. We worked on window machines all the fucking time. And then I'd come home to my Windows computer and I was like, man, I gotta get to work on my Windows computer and find out why I can't run this game or why I can't do this, why I can't do that.
You didn't get this. We use Sunsoft in the military. Oh, you lucky bastard.
So it's just, I think it was about 2007. I finally made the leap. And I says, you know what? I'm going into because I was on iPhone version 3. And I was like, you know what? I like the Apple ecosystem. I just want to go home to something that works. And if something doesn't work, I can take it into the Apple store and make it their problem for no money. And it worked. It worked. I'm like, do I miss my computer games? Yeah, because there's no good Apple computer games. But oh well, it's an ecosystem that's working. for me.
Hey, well, we could have all ended up getting stuck with Cisco or Sun. Hey, that was great software.
What about Gateway?
Go Gateway.
You want? Yeah, got gateways. I was a Dell kid for a while. I was a Gateway kid. I had an E machine. I had an Acer.
Before Windows became a big thing, there we had MS DOS shell, but then PC shell came out, which was like a Windows kind of thing. And I miss those days. I miss those days.
I had a Tandy Sensation. I know what you're talking about, man. It was a monitor keyboard integrated, and it had a button on the screen. So if you were tired at lurking at orange letters, you could press it and you got green letters. All right, Turner. Signing off, man. Folks, everyone, thank you for coming out. This was a great show. Multiple viewers, fantastic comments. If you didn't get your comment added, if you didn't get your comment answered and you still need an answer, you got the email. I'll plug it up one more time. I can't find that fucking pen. There it is, right there. You just email me, okay? I will get you an answer to your email. All right. Take care.
Hey, buddy. Night.
Later.